Hey, good evening, people. I got people scratching at the doors, waiting to get in. Text messages coming in. Let's see. All right. Got Mike Linsky wanting to know when we're going to get started. So I hope the rest of you are out there are as excited as he is. Anyway, I'm Rusty, and this is the Stunt Hanger video hangout, Mondays and Fridays. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:40 p.m. Eastern time. And so we've got two YouTube viewers in right now, and hope we get some live video people going on. We had a pretty lively show on Friday night, so hopefully y'all got some flying or building done this weekend. Let me get all adjusted here. Everything's crookedy. And Minnesota Mike, hey Mike, good to see you coming in. I got my camera crooked. I'm trying to straighten that up. What's the matter with you? There we go. All right. All set. Um, so anyway, as usual, the YouTube chat is open. It looks like people are finding it already. Bob Bishop, hey Bob, is in the YouTube chat, and links are in the usual place in the stunthanger.com control line forums and the live streams / at the bench thread top post. It's always the newest one. I don't ever post it until the moment the show starts, and so if you look for it ahead of time, it's not there. You got to wait until I click the live button, and then I post the thread on Stunthanger. So anyway, glad to see y'all tonight. Hopefully, I'll see y'all tonight, and yeah, we'll have a good Monday. Just chill. We had a great show Friday night. Went on late. Went on to about 1:30, and I think I left them. I think I left them still chatting. But 1:30 is the time I officially cut off the YouTube feed. And so anyway, let's see what I was digging through my old toolbox outside and found out something I might have inherited from my granddaddy long ago. It's his little wooden fold out carpenter's ruler. It's 24 inches long, and it's made by Stanley, actually. Boxwood, warranted. Oh, well, it's a little bowed, so maybe I could send it in for a warranty replacement. But that's pretty cool. Little folding ruler, antique, I guess. And Jeff Riley, hey Jeff, good evening. Minnesota Mike, Jeff Riley, and Bob Bishop are our current visitors on the tube, and it looks like we've got 8 people total, so 5 more people besides those 3. And let's see what we got. Had a good weekend. The weather was pretty good, and nice, Jeff Riley. Nice stick. Oh yeah, nice stick rule. Yeah, I like that. It's not good for a straight edge, but it's good for just whipping out and measuring something. Uh, um, Back in the old days, like that guy that used to have the show on PBS that only used old tools, and he built period stuff. You know, he was doing chiseling logs and building log cabins. He built his shop, and everything that he built in his shop was built old style with hand tools. And I don't remember his name. The guy was pretty amazing, though. I wouldn't be surprised if he had one of those old wooden stick rulers too. Minnesota Mike says he's glad he's home tonight. They're going to get down to 50 below zero in Fargo. So you back in California, I presume, Mike? Yeah, I bet you are glad you're not in that 50 below zero weather. But how's your mom? I hope she's, or is it mom or grandma? I couldn't remember exactly which. But oh, Bob Bishop remembers that dude. The Woodwright's Shop. That was the name of the show. And I cannot remember the dude's name. Was it Roy something? and grandma. Okay, Mike's grandma was sick. And he says she's doing good. Good. Thanks for um, updating us, and thanks for going and being with her while she was sick. And that was a long trip and a tough thing to have to go through, especially with hard weather conditions in the middle of the winter like that. And we're just about now ready in Columbia, South Carolina, to hit our coldest part of the winter. And this is the time, with February coming up, this is the time of the year where it gets cold enough and wet enough at the same time to maybe have frozen precipitation. January, February, those are the 2 months. If we're going to get it, we'll get it then. And so far, we hadn't had a single snowflake this year that I know of, not at my house anyway. In South Carolina, there's been some, but not in the Midlands where I live. And I hope we get through it without any, because it used to be fun when it snowed. I'd always go out and walk down to the liquor store and get me a pint of Jack Daniels and walk back to the house sipping on that. And that doesn't sound quite as fun now as it used to. Does it stick to the ground? Yeah, when it's cold for a period of 2 or 3 days at least before we get snow, then it'll stick. But it just depends on the ground temperature. And I've actually seen start off as rain, heavy rain, and turn to snow and unbelievably start sticking, and then we get like 4 inches or so, and then it's gone the next day like nothing ever happened. So we can build a snowman, and the snowman will be standing up a week later on green grass out on people's lawns, but there's no sign there was ever any snow other than aging snowmen standing up and melting. But we got 20s at night here. Man, my text thing sounds funky tonight. Yeah, let's see who's okay. That's Mike. He's going to be there as soon as he gets the kids down to sleep. And yeah, he says he's on kid time, so he couldn't remember what time we started up here. But same time every night, 9:40 Eastern U.S. time. And so anybody out there that's got a camera and a microphone, I'd be happy if you would come in. Let me turn on my anti-pirate controls so that we don't get any riffraff from around the block in here. Okay, all controls turned on. And so anyway, I'm feeling good. I am solo driving now. I got my car back. Holly bought her a new car. We went out Saturday car shopping and got her a brand new 2018 Hyundai Tucson Sport, and it's got a 2.4 engine with 187 horsepower, I think, and a 6-speed automatic transmission, and all of the stuff. A lot of the stuff I wish I had on my car. My Santa Fe's got, it's a 2011, it's got Bluetooth, so I don't have to take my phone out of my pocket to use it and stuff like that. And I thought it was all cool. But man, she's got heated seats and collision avoidance detection. It does not try to brake the car. I wouldn't want a car that stood on the brakes when it thought it needed to, but it just issues a warning and a light if you're about to occupy the same space as another object. And so that's pretty handy. And her backup mirror works. Mine's been blurry for 3 years, and I just hadn't gotten inspired to fix it. But now that I've seen how crystal clear her backup mirror is, I'm going to go ahead and get mine fixed. It can't cost too much. And the little boxes that you see when you're backing up, hers has a bracket of lines that when you are stopped and you turn the wheel, it anticipates where the car will go at that point with the wheels turned, and shows you by moving the yellow box to where that amount of turning will take you. I don't know if mine, I don't think mine does that. It just shows you where you are. But that's pretty cool. So I need to get mine fixed so I can at least have one more cool feature. But hers doesn't have a cigarette lighter or an ashtray. Oh, Sparky's here. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here ignoring my controls. Let me get you in, Sparky. There you go. Sorry about that. I didn't see you sitting over there. Oh, how you doing tonight, Sparky?
Pretty good. I've been getting all my camera gear ready for Brodak.
Yeah, that season's coming up pretty quick.
Yep.
Usually by the end of February, we start seeing our first 80-degree day here and there, and it teases us, and then it really does take until April or May before spring really shows itself. But those first warm days make me start counting the days until April and May. So you feeling better tonight? I think you weren't feeling too good the Friday night when we talked to you.
Yeah, I guess I'm all right.
Yeah, and I think it was last Monday night you'd about closed your hands off trying to de-ice your car so you could get into it.
Yeah, it's screwed up pretty good. Well, there's my camera setup.
Let me click on that. Here we go. Okay, those white things, is that just lights with a diffusing screen in front of them?
Yeah. I can't get far enough back in this little room here to really show much, but
yeah, and the light and the camera's face is darkening it, so there we go. That looks better. Now we can see the camera behind it and everything.
There's a mixer under the camera, and there's a boom overhead here. And then, of course, there's the mic stand here.
Yeah.
And over there is there's a teleprompter. You probably can't see that. Let me see here. No, not really. It's right here. There's a teleprompter here with another recorder. So I'll need some help. I will need some help.
What are you going to be using the teleprompter? What do you think you'll use the teleprompter for? Just making talking points and notes to scroll by so you can kind of remember just how to stay on point when you're talking.
Yeah. And I got a blimp coming. I was supposed to get my good microphone today, but Amazon screwed me over and I didn't get it.
What's a blimp?
Let me see. Maybe I can bring up a screen share and show you. I don't know why that camera's acting so weird. Okay, let me see if I can find a picture one. Let's see here. We'll go to eBay. That'd be the easiest way to do it. EVA. And go to my orders.
Jeff Riley says Sparky's place looks like the apartment I had when I built my knucklehead.
I built a few motorcycles inside.
I built the engine for my race car in the bedroom of my mother's house I grew up in. Oh, here comes Doug Burright. Let me let him in, Doug. Hang on just a second. And I'll have you, Doug. There you go. Hey, Doug.
Hi there.
How you doing tonight?
Not too bad.
Is this your first visit with us?
I think so, besides one time I got all screwed up with it.
Well, you're coming in loud and clear now. We got a little background chatter, but we've been getting that lately and don't know really where it's coming from.
Yeah, I hear something out
Yeah,
the side everywhere.
it doesn't happen until visitors start coming in, and I don't know if it's feedback through the speakers and microphones or what. We
I
never
only
can
hear
do
it when you're
it.
talking.
Okay, there you go, Rusty. That's a blimp.
All right, let me tell Doug about this. Doug, when you want to see what in the big picture what somebody's showing, go down to their little picture in the film strip and click once on it, and it'll be surrounded by a white border, and then whatever they're showing will be locked into your screen in a big picture. And when you get through looking at it, just click again and it goes back to normal, and then the picture goes to whoever's talking.
So if I touch the bottom.
Yeah, if you click on Sparky's picture there, then it'll make that big so you can see what he's showing. Oh, we gotta eject somebody. Hang on just a second. Hey, dude, let me tell you something. You're not getting recorded to YouTube, so it's not going to be any fun for you. Goodbye.
What a moron.
Yeah.
Get rid of him, Rusty.
I did. I had to click about 3 times. It's gone now.
I don't know why some people think it's their duty to interfere with other people's,
Yeah. I think he's just sitting down in his basement getting a power trip and screwing with us guys. We're just sitting here talking about really intelligent stuff.
Yeah, it must be feedback from your side, Rusty.
Yeah, we keep thinking that. Let me go turn my mic down again. I turned it down the other night and see what happens. And Scott Bruns just joined the video. Hang on, Scott. I'll let you in just a second. I know Scott. I don't know Scott. No.
Is that a helmet head?
I think so. I'm going to eject that.
Wait.
Yeah. Eject. There we go.
Boot. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So let me try turning my sound down. And I still got the big picture locked on Sparky.
Let me go here. Well, I guess let's see here.
I just ejected him again.
That's
sorry, Doug. First time you come in and we're getting inundated by trolls.
That's too bad. You try to provide a service, to help the community, and boneheads try and screw it up because they don't have something better to do.
Well, at least we got them to the point where they don't get recorded to Stunthangar. Nobody but us can see them. So that should take the fun out of it for them.
Yeah,
just distracting for me.
Yep. Well, you know, Rusty, I think we know one guy, uh, Ron Cribbs.
Yeah.
I believe you phoned with him at least once or twice.
Yeah. He was just here a couple of weeks ago visiting me. We went and had dinner together. Here comes Bob Hunt. We had dinner together, had a good time. Hey, Bob, how you doing tonight?
Hi guys, Rusty, how you doing?
Well, pretty good. We're having to kick a spammer off about every couple of minutes, but hopefully he'll get tired and go away.
Thanks, Sparky.
What's up, Bob?
So, did you do anything for fun this weekend, Bob?
Yeah, played out at a model airplane club dinner dance.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said you had a gig coming up last time we spoke. How'd that go?
Yeah, well, I only did a few songs with my guitar teacher. He was the feature performer, so he's real good. We had a lot of fun.
What kind of songs did you play?
Well, I played Poncho and Lefty, that Townes Van Sant song, and I played I Still Miss Someone, a Johnny Cash song. You know,
I like Johnny Cash.
And Marshall Tucker song.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, Bob. When did that guy come on? Did he come on at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's about right.
That's TC Fan. Somehow Stevens. So I'm going to boot this guy off the forum and ban his IP address.
I hope we got the right guy.
Well, you had a kook on Stunt Forum the other day on the forum. You had some guy you had to pick off, or he left voluntarily, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's been happening fairly regularly lately, but the good thing is it does not get broadcast over to YouTube, so people who watch the reruns never get to see what they're trying to show. And,
real bad.
Yeah, and y'all can see it, but
I think one of your trophies is coming off the wall there, Rusty.
Yeah, it pulled up into a loop the other night, and I hadn't caught the lines yet.
Pull up into a loop.
If those were a little smaller, I might arrange them so it looked like they were consecutively flying into a loop. I got a couple of more of those out in the shop. I'll rearrange.
Clever idea for a trophy.
Yeah. Mike Linsky actually saw it when it happened. He was watching and he started laughing, and I said, "What?" And he said, "Your trophy just pulled into a pull-up back there." And I turned around and looked. Sure enough. So I hadn't rearranged it yet. I kind of like it that way.
Yeah. Gives a character.
Yeah.
I can't hang out too long tonight.
I got to go back to trying to.
In the morning, we're doing a doggy play date. He's bringing his dog over, and my dog and his dog are going to have a play date. So.
I just turned my audio down. Does that sound any better with the feedback?
Yeah, there's no.
It's hard to hear you.
Okay, good. But I'm still loud enough to where you can hear me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I'll leave it like that.
I can hear you without the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I found Helmet Head and banned his IP from Stunthangar.
Yeah. He tried logging into the video with a regular sounding name a minute ago, but I recognized his face by then and ejected him. So I'm pretty sure I didn't eject a good guy. I hope not. But anyway, so tell us, Doug, what's your favorite part of control line? What do you mostly do? Are you stunt or combat or what? Sport?
No, I'm stunt. I'm working on I'm working on a Olympic Mark 6 right now.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And Bob,
Yeah.
Mr. Hunt, I have your GeoXL plans hanging on the wall over there.
Mr. Hunt was my father. I'm Bob.
GeoXL. That's not Bob. That's Billy's.
What? Not Bob Hunt?
GeoXL is Billy's.
Oh, well, I think I got the plans for that. I don't know. But you sent me the lost foam instructions and everything.
It makes sense to you?
Yeah, except I still have some. Oh, sorry about moving this around the thing. The dimensions of the root rib and the tip rib are something I don't quite get yet, but I haven't started building it, but I
Here's
will.
GeoXL wing, complete. Lost foam.
Raise it up a little bit. There you go. Yep. And that's with the lost foam method, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's the beauty. One of these days. One of these days.
I love your T-shirt. I think that's a great T-shirt.
Ah, I made that.
I like it.
Thanks. You know what it is then, right?
No, with 2 hammers.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Let me see it again. It's I can't.
Mountain climber.
Let me see here.
Let me present to everybody now. Everybody sees it.
It's Pink Floyd's From the Wall movie, the Hammers.
Oh, okay.
Damn. I hate missing one like that.
Yeah, okay.
See anyone else that had one, so I had to make one.
Yeah. So you're a Gilmore fan, huh?
Pink Floyd, yeah. Waters, Gilmore, those guys.
Roger Waters.
Yep.
Hey Bob, you get Axe TV?
No.
They had Brian Sensor from Stray Cats on some kind of concert. Man, can that guy really play guitar and different kinds of, he wasn't just doing the Stray Cat stuff, just all different kinds of music. And I mean,
I'd forgotten about the Stray Cats. Boy, that brings back memories.
I went to see what I consider the world's greatest guitar player ever last week. Got to see him live.
Eric Clapton?
No, he's not even in the top million. Tommy Emmanuel.
I never heard of him.
Tommy Emmanuel, who all the top guitar players want to take lessons from.
There's a guy on YouTube that plays a 12-string that's super good too. A Spanish guy.
Leo Taki's pretty good 12-string player, but Tommy Emmanuel is just in another league. He's on another planet. Plays 4 parts at one time, 4 separate parts on the guitar at the speed of light. He's incredible.
Okay.
Played for 3 hours and it just blew me away. I'm gonna come home and burn my guitar.
I couldn't believe how good Prince could play guitar.
He's pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, I never liked the guy, and I seen him on Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, and he jumped in with Clapton and stuff, and it was like, oh my God.
Did you see him the night he did with Harrison's Kid?
Yeah.
Did, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, he came in and did that solo that threw the guitar up in the air and the guitar just disappeared into the rafters. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's a good player. Not in Tommy's league, but pretty good.
Yeah. But I mean, for someone that you wouldn't think that could really play, the songs he did and stuff like that, and he had a lot more talent playing the guitar than
what
he showed.
Great player. A lot of good players out there. So what'd you do?
Piano.
Huh?
I'm trying to learn the piano.
Yeah. That's a worthy instrument to learn.
Just checked in from YouTube, says, "Hey guys, hanging at the hospital with my dad and grandma. Both were admitted So gotta hope for the best.
Who's that?
I hope everything's gonna be okay.
Who was that?
Jared Hayes.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Heck yeah. Wish him well.
From Wichita,
Yeah,
I
prayers.
forget, but somewhere out there in the heartland.
Nebraska. Omaha, I
Yeah,
think.
okay, that's
Wow.
right. Yeah, good luck, Jared. I hope everything's gonna be okay.
yeah.
What are you doing, Steve?
Resting up from snow blowing. We got over 10 inches of snow and drifts. It was up over my knees.
Good grief.
And we're getting ready for a high of 0 on Wednesday.
Holy smokes.
It's coming towards you.
Yeah, we're supposed to get about a coating to 3 inches, someplace in that vicinity tomorrow. So.
One of my buddies up in Rhode Island says when it snows and the sidewalks get covered in front of his house, they'll get ticketed by the municipality if they don't clear it off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much true of most towns. If you don't clear up the driveway in front of or the sidewalk in front of your house, you can get ticketed.
You know, it's really crazy as today when I was out driving for work, all these people out doing their sidewalks and the roads aren't plowed. People are stuck in them. So they need to ticket the people who don't plow the roads.
How about it?
Or drive on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
What do they do for people who are physically unable to get out there and clear snow?
Got to hire somebody.
I guess so.
Where I used to live in Wyoming, they put a millage through and they bought 3 or 4 of these little, look like tanks. They had tracks on them, really skinny, and the guy sat in it, and it was just about as wide as, you know, his shoulders would hit on the windows. And that thing would plow snow at about 35 miles an hour. Oh my God. It had a V plow on it, and it would just.
A hell of a rooster tail.
Was it like a bobcat or something with a snowplow?
Yeah, but it was really thin, and the motor set behind the guy in the cab, and he was right up at the front, kind of like a cab over truck. And it was open down on the floor where you could see there, but he just was right above that plow, and it had, I don't know, probably 4 foot long tracks, 5 foot long, and that thing would just, it was like, it steered like a tank, I guess. I don't know how it, you know, I never got to look inside of it. You'd hear it coming, and then bang, it was gone. But
Mike,
clear all the sidewalks in a night.
We got Mike mocking Doug over here.
Not mocking. It's an homage.
Again.
I'm down with Pink Floyd, man. That's an homage, man. I'm not mocking.
There you go. Yep.
That's great.
Gary Sinclair said he can hardly hear me. He's over on YouTube, so I turned my volume up a little bit.
Okay.
So who is
Tell me if you can hear me better now, Gary.
You're Doug? Doug who?
Burright from Wichita.
Burright. Okay, I recognize the name. I don't think I've ever seen you on the live chat here.
What's your last name?
Burright.
Oh, okay.
Where do you fly, Doug?
Trouble. Wichita.
Wichita. Okay, right on.
I'm just trouble. I just cause trouble.
No, you don't.
Did you guys get hit pretty hard with this last storm coming through, or did it miss you?
No, we had 56 degrees yesterday, but it was a little bit breezy, and so we couldn't fly. But today it didn't get up over, I don't know, 25. Wow. And it's supposed to be chilly the rest of the week. And
breezy in Kansas? Wow, what happened? You know.
Yeah. That's normal.
You know Jim Lee over at Topeka?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. See him at the contest and stuff.
Yeah, Jim hadn't made it down to Huntersville lately. Keep hoping he'll show up. Maybe he'll be here in May.
I think he said every other year is what he does because he goes
Maybe
to
so.
the
He
New
probably
Orleans.
just comes to. He probably just comes to the October contest.
Yeah, but he said he flip flops between the New Orleans and the El Dorado, Arkansas contest. I believe is what he told me last night. Because I asked him why I haven't seen him at Huntersville last year, and he said it's because he does every other year. He flip flops. So.
You plan on some contests this year, Bob?
Well, maybe local contests. I don't think I'm going to make it to the nationals this year, but I'll probably go to some local contests.
I don't know if you're going to go to like to Huntersville or stuff like that.
No, I got to stay home. I can't get away for too long because of my dog. You know, so
we used to have a pretty darn good contest here in Wichita, and it started failing after we lost Mike Tallman and Lou Woolard.
Woolard was a loss. Yeah, they both were.
Pardon?
The Woolard was a loss. They both were. You know, Woolard was a first out of VSC.
Yeah, every year. Yeah, he would ride down there, and he'd make it up to Carmichael's too.
Mm-hmm.
Fly. Brodax.
I bet Brookins is lost without him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got all his stuff.
Yeah, but he doesn't
I was waiting for that to come up. I've been following that thread pretty tight, man. Because
that's a sad thing right there.
Who runs the beginner at the Nats? He had some engines in there to Lou Woolard, and Mike is really good about donating a lot of stuff for the beginners. So he was a little upset, but we don't need to get into that on here. I don't guess they can hash that out on the. But very disappointing to hear if it went down the way.
Yeah, that's
Mike Stinson.
Yeah, Mike Stinson.
He's a great guy. I like him.
He is. He does a lot. I mean, I fly with Mike. Mike's 3 hours away from me in Louisville, but we hang out quite a bit and fly together a lot. And he's been very good to Sam and I both. He's been helping us with our stunt stuff, and I've been helping him with his combat stuff because he got back into combat here recently. So, but he told me out of his own pocket, he donates $600 or $700 worth of stuff that he buys because he wants every kid to go home with a complete engine and airplane ready to fly.
He's an airline pilot, isn't he?
He is. Well, he flies for UPS out of Louisville.
Oh, okay.
Their hub is in Louisville, so he flies for UPS out of Louisville. Yeah. Yeah, he does a lot for beginner. I mean, he donates a lot. He puts in a lot of time. He makes sure that there's good prizes. He's rounding guys up to donate good stuff, And
I'll tell you what, he's very accommodating because I went out there to cover it for Stunt News and for Model Aviation and for Nats News. I was doing all three of them. And he just bent over backwards to make my job easier. He really did. Great guy.
Mike's a stand-up guy, man. He's a stand-up guy. So, and not to bring up the thread, but he had said he just assumed that the engines that he had at Lou's were his widow benefited from them, and then he found out that maybe that didn't happen, so he was a little upset about that. He didn't mind helping out the widow, but he didn't like modelers helping themselves,
Yeah, well.
Yeah, she didn't benefit from him at all, and the grandson contacted me and wanted to know what happened, and I got him in contact with whoever I knew, and it just is all gone.
Wow.
Well, guys, I'm gonna hit it early tonight, but I would like to say one thing about Helmet Head. He sure is persistent.
Yeah, he is. Well, maybe you got him. He tried to sign in under the name of Scott Bruns at 9:58. I looked in the chat box, the local video chat box, and all of the timestamps are right there together. From
the last name is Bruns. He can't be entirely bad.
Yeah, right.
How many people got that jump? But I know Steve got it.
Sparky, before you get off of here, I appreciate the offer on the PA 75 header, but I have located one and it's on the way, so I'm all set.
Good.
Do I really need more than one header for each engine? I've got 3 PAs and 3 headers now, so do I need a spare, or is it just
Not normally.
not normally? That's what I thought. So I mean, I've got one for each engine now, and I've got
One that came from Randy. If it's one that came from Randy, it'll last forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scott Dinger's the guy who made them, isn't he?
Maybe, but if it's the one that Randy's selling, they're bulletproof.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't need to be greedy and board them, but I want to thank you for the offer of trying to help me out if I couldn't locate one. But there's one in the mail. So
You're talking about Fox parts before. There was a thread on the Stunthangar about where have all the Fox parts gone. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's from Ron Cribs.
I was gonna post, but I decided not to. But I'll say it here. I was gonna post that. I don't know about everybody else, but I cut them up for tip weight.
Shame on you.
All right, guys. Good night.
All right, good night.
It's on him.
Woo. I'll get
So
hate.
you get your stuff from Igor yet?
Yeah, I did. I'm just waiting for Tom Luciano to come up. We're going to install it in the Crossfire, and we're going to install it in the Genesis Extreme. So I have 2 airplanes to mess around with that system in it. And I come up with a new way of actually putting it in those airplanes and aligning it properly, because it has to be, you have to be able to get it to the perfect place and make it repeatable whenever you take it out and put it back in, or make it adjustable finite. And what I decided to do is, since I build the jet style airplanes that have a taller, top block and canopy, I can put a vertical rib in there, and I can put a little slot on the rib. And this thing weighs nothing, so there's very little G-force on it. I can put this thing on a slot on a vertical rib, and slide it down in there and lock it, and I can just measure how far down it goes. I don't know if you get what I'm talking about, but the rib won't sit horizontal; it'll sit vertical. We were talking about making a little horizontal track to put it back, but instead I think a vertical rib with a slot in it where I can put a little, carriage on it to carry the thing back and then lock it, and then I can adjust it. I'll have to show it to you. I'll have to,
What, for the ESC?
No, the accelerometer, the little chip that senses where the airplane what's doing.
It's supposed to, well, will it be back far enough? Because it's supposed to be so far behind the
belt crank area. Yeah, behind the aft 2/3 of the wing. Yeah, Tom's already done it in his Crossfire, and he did it with a horizontal track, and it took forever to put it in and get it accurate. I'm thinking a vertical rib would be a better deal, top to bottom instead of side to side, and just have a little track that you can run the thing on and just measure how far back you push it.
Oh, just for adjustment?
Yeah. And if you want to take it out of one airplane and put it in another and put it back in that airplane again accurately, because those things aren't cheap, so I'm not going to buy a couple of them,
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, you haven't been on in a few weeks. Have you had occasion to meet Mike Hazel? Do you know Mike Hazel at all?
Mike Hazel. No, I know Bob. I know Bob Hazel.
Northwest Speed guy.
You what?
He's a Northwest Speed guy.
No, I don't know him.
No. How about you, Doug? Are you familiar?
Don't know.
I never heard of
Mm-mm.
Well, I don't have anything new to show this week, but we got a couple of new guys on here, so I'm going to show you some stuff I got from Mike Hazel here recently. A couple of sport jet kits that I picked up for Dynajets.
Mm.
Rusty, Steve, you guys saw this stuff last week, but I'm going to show Bob and Doug.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind a double show and tell. I'm gonna go ahead and present to everyone so they can see it.
Have I got enough area to do a square 8?
No, that's my dad's old cat jet. He built that in the early 60s. Mike Hazel was selling off some old speed stuff. There's a brand new cat jet kit. So I'm going to build that one. Dad's has been retired for several years now, but I'm going to build that one and do it in the same colors that Dad did his. And I also picked up a Tamigo. That's another Mike Hoyt kit for Dynajet. And I scored a Dynajet off of Charles Carter, who's on here all the time.
Wow.
He told me that one showed up on Saturday. So now I'm fixed for pulse jets, that's for sure. I'm going to try to get at least one of these built for Brodax and the Nats this summer. Hopefully I'll have them both done. They should be pretty quick builds.
Buy a couple more of those and you're going to get a visit from Homeland Security.
Oh, dude, I run them in my garage, Bob. I run them out here in the garage. I only do it during the daytime on weekdays when I know that all my neighbors are at work. You know, the ones on each side of me and across the street, they're all gone. So I haven't had any trouble yet.
That'd be a good thing for midnight on the first of the year, you know, New Year's. Start one of those.
Oh, yeah, it would be for sure. For sure. I got the jet bug again really bad, man, because I mean, I've showed you the Bolton T-34 that I picked up from the New Zealand guy that sells a sport jet ready to go for like $150 and flying Dad's old jet. I've been flying that the last 2-3 summers. And then I've got the jet bug again bad. I'm having so much fun flying that thing that I decided I'm going to start putting these other engines to use. And, when I saw Mike Hazel had all this speed stuff for sale, it was listed on the Northwest Flying Lines, Flying Flea Market, I think is their classified thing for the Northwest group. Mm-hmm. Mike's getting there in age, and he's unloading quite a bit of stuff. So I bought those jet kits just because I want to.
Mike's getting more and more into nostalgia. Next thing you know, he'll be flying Foxes again.
Nope, not going to happen, dude.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
More tick weight.
I mean, I got a couple of Fox Mark III combat specials, man, and some Mark IVs that I still run, but we really don't have any 35s or 29s or 19s. We got rid of all of that stuff. Steve made a liar out of me last week because I pulled a Yuki 35 down, and it had a Fox 35 on it. So he busted me on that one. I didn't even know that thing was on there, Steve. I forgot it was up there.
Well, who's the guy that makes the Venturis and all that? Jim Lee.
Jim Lee.
You ever see his Fox 35 run?
Oh yeah, I mean, dude.
Oh, I mean, all of them. I mean, they just run so good. It's just setting them up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now Bob can do it too. But
I remember Fox 35 since, good grief, what was the last Fox 35 I ran? It had to be in the 60s. It was in the 60s.
I've only got one. It's a 1954 Fox 35 that Ron Cribbs gave me when he sent me an ancient old Sterling Yak 9 kit. And he sent me a Fox 35 with it. So I bolted it on there after I built it. And it's fun plane to fly, but I couldn't fly a pattern with it to save my life.
Rusty, you just got a Larry Scarenzi Fox 36X, man.
Yeah, well, that's not even the same thing.
No, it's not. That one runs.
Last one I had was in my Caprice, and the original Caprice back in '67. And as soon as the Max 35S came out, I tried that.
That's a wonderful engine.
We just threw the Foxes away.
Yeah, I love my Max S. That's a great engine.
We had Super Tiger rods in them. We put Super Tiger 35 rods in the Max 35S.
Oh, that's right. I've heard that's the weak point on the Max S.
Yeah, and it made them bulletproof, and they were great. Yeah. Then, of course, the Tiger 46 came in, and then the FSRs, and then Randy.
If you're nostalgic for the 4.2 brake, that one ought to be pictured next to the definition of 4.2 brake in the dictionary to Max S. I got one on the shoestring, and it's just clockwork.
Bob, did you say you ran FSRs?
Mm-hmm.
Like 40s?
Yeah, that's what I had in the airplane I won the worlds with. I
ran 3 or 4 of those on RC planes. That was a popular RC motor.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking probably around the 80s because my dad had them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the FSR, the dual ball bearing I didn't know that was a good control line engine.
Well, it was. You had, it had its deficiencies and it had its pluses. The one thing about it was it had a tremendous amount of horsepower, and you could fly it on thinner lines because back then the break points for the lines were displacement, not weight. So you could fly a 40 and it had way more horsepower than a Tiger 46.
Oh, wow.
And we had a higher RPM with a flatter pitch prop. It was more of a low gear setup, but they work great.
Is an FSR a 4-stroke?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's an OS 40, man.
It's an early motor. The downside,
ball bearing 40 is what it is.
the downside to that motor or that engine, as well as all the OS engines from that era that were plated, they were not ABC. They were ABN.
Right, ABN.
And the nickel plating was a nickel wash thing, and that would wear off, and the compression would go away, and those things would not tolerate real hot days for very long. So that was a short-lived thing. Although what we did was we started getting pistons and liners from Vic Garner. I don't know if you know Vic or not. He was a very famous speed engine builder. And he made us a bunch of liners and high-wall Dykes rings, very high-wall Dykes rings. They took forever to come in, but when they came in, they were just amazingly powerful. And that fixed that engine. But soon after that, Randy came out with his engines, and it was kind of a Mox Nix thing,
Well, you were saying that you could wear them out. I never had that problem running them on RC planes. Of course, because we're throttling, we're heating up and cooling.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I never wore one out. I still got two in my engine box that were on RC planes in the 1980s.
Well, Frank McMillan gave me that engine probably around 1974 or 3 when they first came out. And we didn't know what to do with it. He had one. He gave it to me. And I just looked at it and said, well, this ain't going to work in Stunt. And I threw it in a drawer, And I started hanging around with Richie Tower, who was an engine man, a full, he built race car engines and stuff. And he came down to my shop one day and was going through looking at my engines and stuff. He said, what's this? I said, well, it's something Frank McMillan gave me. He says, are you going to use it? I said, no. So he took it home. And a couple of years later, when I was having some trouble getting the HPs to run like I wanted them to, he brought that thing back down and bolted it in my airplane the night before I left for the World Championships. And that's the engine that won the world for me. I had it for 2 days before I left.
You flew an OS FSR 40 in a plane at the World Championships.
Yes, I did, with a homemade wooden 3-blade prop.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
What pitch was that prop?
You flew OPS before that, didn't you, Bob?
No, the OPSs were way after that.
Oh, the OPSs were after.
Yeah, they came in just before the PAs. We flew those. They were heavy, but they ran great. They were bulletproof. But then, Randy came out with the AAC motors, and they were just, incredible. So.
Well, who makes the damn motors for Randy?
Henry Nelson.
Used to be Henry Nelson, not anymore.
Because Nelson was making piston and liners kit for the FSR.
Yeah, and he was also making pistons and liners for the Aero Tigers. And that was really what made this thing so popular. But the big thing that Henry did was those investment cast cases. They were gorgeous.
Yeah.
Jared asks if the FSR was any good for control line.
Yeah, we're talking about
for a long time. I should say
I've got a brand new one in the box for RC.
I used them up until 1980 when I retired for a while, got into RC pattern. When I came back, it was the OPS. So, but people did use them, all through that time. And of course, some of the guys out in the West Coast used the OS VF 40. And that was a good engine.
So, Doug, those they go pretty good on eBay still. The FSRs, new in box.
Pretty cheap?
No, pretty good.
Yeah.
Around $125
Well, no, the FSRs, they were side exhaust, right?
Yeah. The VFs were rear exhaust.
VFs, yeah. That's what Nelson made the
liners
for. So the 60s were the same way. They'd peel the chrome if you really pushed them hard.
The FSRs used in good condition go anywhere from $75 to $100. and a new in-box one will go 150 on eBay.
And they're a little heavy.
I pay attention because I had 3 of them on RC planes. So, you know, motors that you've owned in the past, when you see them on eBay, you pay attention to what their value is, you know.
And they're a little bigger and heavier than the Fox 35, so they actually make more tip weight when you cut them up. Us electric guys, you know how we are.
Yeah. Back to the OS 35, that S. I have one in a Boxcar Chief that I really like.
Oh, that's a great motor. It still is a great motor.
Yeah. It's working really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy did some stuff with them. I don't know if it made a big difference on how they ran or not.
I had a couple of his, and they really ran well, very well.
So I didn't know what he did to them, but
I forgot what prop I used on mine. Maybe a 9.6 or something like that, 9.5. I don't remember.
You could use 10.5s. You know, they would swing at 10.
I think that's what I have.
Yeah. And they tolerate nitro.
yeah, I got a 30 and I got a 35, or yeah. They didn't make a 29. They made a 30. I got a 30 brand new and a 35. I've never run it because I've always
Ryan's here. Let me let Ryan in.
But that's where Samantha learned how to do the pattern, was with the Fox 35. We got it to break, so when she came down and stuff, that's when you were on the handle with her. That was the last time you flew a Fox engine. When you were on the handle with her.
Probably was.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, guys. I just have a few minutes open, and I said, hey, let me drop by and say hi.
Were you in college?
Dropping in.
Steve, was that the day I was teaching her how to do square loops?
Yeah. That was with that Fox 35. We finally got rid of the airplane, but still got the motor and everything. But yeah, it gave her some time on the down leg when that thing would break. You have to adjust the needle and it would break, slow it down a little bit for her so that she could make the turns, because
that was at Akron. What is that contest? Yeah. Did they stop holding that contest?
Yeah, they called it Billy's contest, and so many of the guys died that helped, and
they called it Billy's contest because he actually showed up to one once.
Oh, is that why it was?
Jared says if you guys have the contest again in Wichita, he'll be there this summer.
Oh, good. Well, we're trying to muster up the help and enthusiasm is really what it takes, because we can get help come up from Oklahoma to judge and stuff.
Jared and his dad actually made it all the way down to Huntersville a couple of years ago. I think it was 1 October.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and isn't the El Dorado, Arkansas one in November?
It is, and I would have been at that one, Doug. This would have been my first year going, except it was the weekend that my family and I took our very first trip to Disneyland.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So me and the wife and kids did a week at Disney, and we left on Saturday, the day the contest started, because I was going to go. But then the Disney trip. I will definitely be there next year, because it's 2 weeks after Huntersville. It's the El Dorado contest, and it's the same drive for me to go to El Dorado as it is to Huntersville. So we'll be there next year in November if they have it on the same weekend.
Now, did you go to Disneyland or Disney World?
Florida.
Disney World.
Yeah,
World.
I don't know. It was my first time. I'm 51 and I've never been.
No.
I've never been.
Never been.
Disneyland's in California. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Florida. But I will be at El Dorado next November for sure.
You see them
have good weather in November? Does anybody know what the weather for the Arkansas contest is in November?
I think they had pretty decent weather, because I mean it's 7 hours south and west of me, so I think they're like 300 miles south.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They're pretty far south.
The weather's good. Yeah, they're down there. The weather's good.
Did you see the McDonald's just before the entrance there at Disney World?
No.
Probably 2 or 3 miles. You didn't notice it?
No, I didn't.
That parking lot is my uncle's house. When I was a kid, that's where we went. My dad took us down. It was his brother. And that was kind of a weird thing because he was talking about the corner lot where McDonald's was. Someone paid $10,000 for it. And he's like, it's gotta be a Yankee. He goes, nobody in their right mind would pay $10,000 for that lot. He goes, I offered him $500 for it. And then other land started selling, and he's like, man, something's really up. Well, it was Disney bought up all the land, and Disney World came to his backyard.
Wow.
His yard into Disney World started.
Okay. Doug, are you going to El Dorado? Is that your plan?
I'm going to try to hit more contests this year.
Don't they have a spring contest too?
I always go to Tulsa now, and I think Topeka is having contests again.
That's a little far for me. Believe me, I've looked on the map, and they're just a little far. And then sometimes they conflict with Huntersville, which I'm never gonna miss that one because that's only like 6 hours for me, 6.5 hours. But I've been looking at St. Louis. St. Louis is only like a 7-hour drive. So I've been looking at the Booter Park contest. But I would like to go to Topeka, Kansas City.
Hey, your connection is a lot better lately.
Yeah, I got 3 routers and 3 modems in like 14 days, and then they finally got me some good ones that the little Chinese kids made that work properly. So, I'm good.
Did you fly the plane?
No, I still haven't had weather, Dorian. I just still haven't had good weather. I'm waiting. I keep watching the Huntsville weather in Huntsville, Alabama, because that's just an hour and 15 minutes for me from Nashville. And I've been in touch with the guys down there. And as soon as there's good weather, I'm going to go down and fly with the Huntsville guys. I think that's my best shot.
Okay.
Their weather, even though it's just 80 miles south of me, it is farther south, so the weather should be better. I'm hoping. I'm still waiting to get out there. So I haven't flown the PA 65 yet. In the SV22. Still waiting.
I had a few minutes over the weekend, and I went out to practice a little bit, and I pushed a few flights on my on the plane. In particular, I was practicing to see how hard I can hit those corners. I mean, I really want to wail on it, real hard, and boy, that thing is just it's explosive in the corner. It's so quick. I almost lose sight of it and kind of appears on the other side, in the other direction. It's just that it's wicked fast.
But I thought I saw where you posted something on Stunthangar, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I was really trying to see how hard I can wail on it, and I did some of the, I mean, in my opinion, some of the best. I made an hourglass, man. I drive it in deep down and just pull hard on it on the body, like snap. It was just like wham. Just that split second turn and lock it in on the other side. I was just like, I mean, this thing is just crazy good.
That's awesome. Hey, I want to ask Doug again real quick. Doug, you were talking about going to more local contests. What are you going to hit contest season this year?
Try to go to Topeka, and I think Jared's club is going to have a contest in Omaha, and then the Glue Daubers down there at the end of September, and then maybe get down to the El Dorado, Arkansas one. But,
I definitely plan on being in El Dorado in November. I'm going to make sure the calendar's clear this year.
I'm going to have to get a buddy to go along with me to
Yeah.
share expense.
For me and Sam, Huntersville is always our finish of the year. October. We're always done after Hunter. Because there was never really any other contests in November until the El Dorado contest popped up. And they're having it, you know, I believe they do first week in November is when they're doing that. So squeak one more in.
We're gonna have a contest. We're gonna have a contest in Easton, Pennsylvania. If you guys want to come in, you know.
Pennsylvania is a long way for us, brother.
And we're on the other side of Pennsylvania, not the West Coast. We're on the East Coast of Pennsylvania.
That's a long way. I mean, we hit 8 contests and 1 fun fly last summer. So, I mean, we went to 9 events last summer, and 2 of them being a week at Brodax and a week at the Nats.
Yeah.
So we
Wow.
did.
I didn't expect anybody to actually make it. So
we've been doing quite a bit. But I got Doug. I don't know if you know, I got a 10-year-old that's flying stunt and combat. So I'm gonna take advantage of this while he's interested in doing this, and before he finds girls. You know, I don't mind spending the money and going to these contests.
If he gets to be too good a stunt flyer, we're going to introduce him to a fast car and a faster girl.
I taught both boys how to build and fly rockets and fly model airplanes before they ran into girls and cars.
Yeah.
And
I don't know about you guys, but I'm only in the stunt thing for the women and the money, you know. So.
Yeah, there's so much of that to be
women
had.
that do stunt.
All the chicks dig combat guys, man.
Yeah.
They don't care about the stunt weenies and their golf sports. They
every combat contest I've been at, I just can't believe how many women are there.
There's a bunch, man. Yeah.
Shit.
Well, women like to fight, you know.
Yeah, I just there might be 1 or 2 wives there. That's it.
Too much carnage.
Yeah.
Not for combat. I just not for combat.
They all fly combat cats. Cat fights.
Oh, by the way, I have a double voodoo kit. If somebody knows what they're worth.
$100.
Huh?
$100. 120 if it's really pristine.
Yeah, I think it's in good shape. Yeah.
Yeah,
because I'm not going to do anything with them.
If the box is in excellent shape and you know everything's there, $100 to $120. But I tell you, that was over the last 3 or 4 years. But since Stan Froneberger has started kitting the Voodoo, the prices kind of dropped on the original. I
was going to ask you, what do you think of that video?
Because Stan is doing laser cut kits with AAA Select Balsa, and he's selling them for $69 a piece. And they go together so nice, and the wood is so good in them. Nobody's really wants to build an old school Voodoo with plywood.
I can't believe how he made that spar in there where it comes and locks in.
Yeah,
I saw that on Facebook the other day.
Stan's kits are really nice. Jamie Holford he runs the control line right on, and they did a raffle for a double Voodoo kit of Stan Froneberger's new laser cut Voodoos. 100 entries at $5 an entry or something like that. I won the first raffle that they ran, so I got a double Voodoo kit laser cut from Stan. I donated one to the beginner prize table at the Nats last year, and the other one's sitting on the shelf. I haven't built it yet. I've opened it up and looked at it. And of course, I've seen a lot of builds on the control line flying side of guys that have them, and they look great. I mean, I got 2 Voodoos sitting up that were built out of the old hardwood kits, and they fly over. But Stan stuff.
Top of the wall here are some of Stan's 049 airplane.
Yeah, he just does phenomenal work, man. They're great.
Yeah.
Well, and then they had a second raffle for a baby Nobler that he makes, and I didn't put my own name there, but I bought a ticket for my son Samuel and we won the second raffle. They won the second kit. So we won the first 2 raffles that Jamie had.
How lucky can you be?
That's my puppy.
Yeah,
That's my big old puppy.
Hey, doggy.
Hey, puppy.
Yeah.
I donated one of the kits I won to the prize table. So, I'm trying to spread the love a little bit. And, I was really surprised. It was one of the last things to go. It was one of the last things that was picked at the Nats last summer. That voodoo kit sat there through rounds and rounds of people going through it. It was one of the last things to be picked. Really surprised at.
Wow. Yeah. I guess people are more interested to fly the stunt planes then.
Because you're
maybe this.
That's why.
Yeah, that's why.
I
Bob.
just can't get over how much.
I have a question.
Damage. That's too much carnage.
What's your question, Troy?
I have a question, more of a setup question. When do you have too much handle and not enough handle?
What's that?
I mean, what makes the difference in having too much handle spacing is to the point the plane is too touchy and not enough?
Well, remember, there's a difference between sensitivity and responsiveness in an airplane.
Yeah.
You know what that is? I mean.
Yeah, like you told me last time
Yeah.
that we kind of, yeah.
Well, lately I've been under the feeling that we want to go back to what we were doing back in the 70s. We were getting much tighter corners back then. We were using more nose-heavy airplanes, but we were using faster control systems and much more throw in the actual surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have to use big handles to get that. But nowadays, most of our airplanes have been built with much taller horns, and consequently the control systems are slower. We can't get the amount of throw-in quick enough, to use that setup. So what you have to do then is go to a more handle spacing, which is what Bob Barron did in '96. He had like a 9-inch handle spacing. The thing looked like a broomstick in his hand,
Yeah.
And it worked great.
Yeah.
It worked great.
So how where do you draw the line? I mean, it's like do you find like
I don't know.
I mean, do you want to get the softest round that you can get and still maintain the hard corner, or because sometimes I think if the handle spacing is too big, then obviously you're gonna have that blistering corner, but the rounds are gonna start to hurt.
Yeah, but that's just one component. It also has to do with the speed of the system in the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. It's not just a handle size. It all has to work in concert, one thing with another. The center of gravity position, the speed of the control system, and the size of the handle all have to be in concert.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
You ever flew Bob Gieschke's airplanes? I flew one of his airplanes once, and his airplane would reflect your breathing. I mean, that airplane would go up and down when you breathe because it was so sensitive. That's how he liked his airplanes. I mean, he balanced them someplace about mid-tail wheel, and then he had a huge handle, and he was able to fly them, but I couldn't fly them.
Yeah, I flew Kent Tyser's plane one time, was a Strega after the Nats, and it scared the bejesus out of me because the plane was so touchy. I had a hard time flying it. I just couldn't.
So
it boils down to personal preference, right?
Yeah, it boils down to not just personal preference, but to a degree, personal preference. But what your nervous system is like and how it relates to what's going on out there. Some people like a very sensitive airplane, and some people don't.
Yeah. I definitely get that.
My son,
right now,
so far aft, and he could lock them like freight trains. I can't fly them at all. I couldn't get down with it, And then he can't. Conversely, he can't fly the airplanes that I set up either. So
yeah. So more or less, it kind of boils to
was not narrowing your handle down below inside of your finger.
Inside the frame of the hand. That's one thing I've always felt gets very vague. If you get the handle spacing inside the frame of your hand, you just don't get a feeling of the airplane.
What
that really helped Samantha because we went in so narrow and went tail heavy, so something would turn super fast, but she lost all feel, and we ended up going back wider in the handle, and then a little more nose weight to get the turn she wanted.
Yeah. Well, there are two school of thoughts. You either go the FCG with the small handle spacing, or a forward CG with the more handle spacing.
And quicker control.
Like Bob said about the Queen Mary Shark.
Yeah.
That has such a forward CG on the plane that it was very hard. In the loops, it's kind of hard to turn in the loops, and then when you have to give it a lot of input to make it corner.
Yeah, well, when it cornered, it really cornered and locked instantly. That it was Jose's airplane, but I guess he was setting it up for Orestes, and I thought it was going to be sensitive as anything because when I always check the airplane out before I fly, and the thing has so much elevator throw. It had like air brakes, like 85 degrees of elevator throw, literally. And I'm thinking to myself, this thing's going to be touchier as the son of a gun. And he said, you got to use their handle and you got to use their setup. I said, okay, I was ready to just fly it out. And I took off. The thing felt like it was like you said, the Queen Mary out there. I said, this will never turn. And yet when I hit the lever, the thing just turned and locked. I mean, it just came out on a line so perfect. And that's when I said, I've seen this before. That's what we used to do back in the 70s. Set them up. Now, now, having said all that, it will give you what you're looking for in a tight corner with a good exit. But the thing it doesn't give you is ease of flying in wind. They take a little more work in wind to fly. They get more stick pressure build up. And they're also not, and how do I say this? It's not like driving a sports car. It's more like driving a dump truck. They'll do the job, but they're not as much fun.
Yes.
They're much more responsive or more fun.
Yeah. I find myself right now in a situation where I'm kind of flying the way I was flying before, being used to a much softer corner and comparatively. And I find myself right now that the plane can fly so much tighter corner and so much faster that I have to retrain myself on flying to the ability of the plane. But then I was thinking that maybe I should increase my handle spacing a little bit to gain that kind of keep my old flying style with a kind of like easy on the handle, but gaining on a corner. But then I was thinking about it and I said, nah, it's not going to happen like that because a faster corner is just faster. You have to move faster up and down. You can't fly with the same rhythm as before with a plane that turns twice as fast as before.
Well, it
just doesn't exist.
You just use more handle. It's going to get more sensitive with the same CG setup. But one thing that really confounds me a lot about all of this, you're saying, you're thinking about it. The thing to do is go try it. And it's not that hard to try. One flight to go try it. Make the handle, go fly it. And this is the thing that really confounds me about what's going on in Stunt. For most people, they build all these adjustable features into their airplanes, adjustable horns and ratios and everything, and they never use them.
Yes, that's
good enough. And they figure it's flying a pattern, I'll leave it. And boy, if you ever read Paul's trim, series, and Bill Simon told me this too. He said the day that you stop trimming the airplane is the day the airplane falls apart or crashes. He says that's the day you stop trimming it. And you try things, and most people don't try enough things.
Yeah.
The one thing is that it doesn't matter how tight you turn that corner if you can't lock it.
You can't stabilize it afterwards.
Right. If you get a little jump in it, you're down on an angle, up on an angle. You've lost so many points that you're better off to do a slower corner and come out.
That's why I believe, as much as it's counterintuitive to what we think we're doing, to put a lot more nose weight in them than we're flying with right now, and use faster control systems, and use more total throw, and get the throw in quick. So you'll be able to force the airplane around the corner, and yet when you come back anywhere near neutral, it's going to stabilize.
Yeah.
some people won't agree with that, but that's exactly how he did it back in the 70s. And the guy back in the 70s that had more corner than I've seen anybody ever fly. And that was Bill Simons. And Bill Simons, his airplanes, I couldn't fly them. They were so nose heavy. He had a lot of rifts, and he was able to get the control in fast, had a lot of control, and he had tighter corners than anybody I've ever seen in my life, including Gene Schaefer.
If you can turn a 5-foot radius,
well, you can't.
Well, whatever. Ain't that what you're supposed to do? A 5-foot?
No, there's no corner value on this one anymore because it's impossible to do that. They took that out of the rule book.
Oh, they did? So, well, however tight you can turn an airplane to make that corner, you don't have to have it turn any further than that. You got to do the 90. And if that's pull up or pull down,
you got to be able to stop it. And here's my contention: is that everybody in search of more corner, a lot of people have gone to more aft CGs, which will make the airplane more responsive and make it easier to turn. The problem is they have consequently less tight corners because they're not able to stabilize it after the corner and stop it after it turns. So they're kind of placing it into the corner. And that way you're not getting a kind of corner you can get it with blasted and then have something that stabilizes it after it turns. That's the way we did it back in the 70s. And it worked. Now, there'll be some people who call me crazy. Well, there's a lot of people who call me crazy. But that really worked. And that's exactly how Jose's Shark was set up. And when I flew David Fitzgerald's airplane, aside from the fact that it pulled my right arm out of the airplane, pulls 3 times harder than anything I've ever flown in my life. I don't know why. But man, does he have line tension. But he had it set up very much that same way. You come down and you just slam it, and the airplane would turn and lock. And you almost couldn't miss a corner if you tried.
I do not have any issues with the plane locking. I mean, the plane locks like it's no tomorrow. I mean, it's super easy to get it to lock. I mean, it just locks by itself. It's beautifully just as is.
So what you said, you're getting real tight corners. So what do you look? What are you searching for? You seem to have.
I'm searching for the maybe a little bit easier flying. The question is more of a question is, how do you balance a tight corner versus a round, right? So because sometimes you have so much handle spacing where you can turn it super fast, but then when you do the rounds, it's so touchy that it can be it takes very minute amounts. So it's the balance between the two, right? And that's more of the question that I have. How much. I can wail as hard as I want to on this plane. I cannot stall it. It's impossible to stall this plane. I cannot do that.
I might have missed this, but what airplane are you flying? Not that I can offer anything, but I'm just.
The Revolutions. You talking about the Revolutions, Trey?
Yes.
And what motor? Is it IC or electric?
It's an electric motor.
That's that molded composite plane he was showing us when he first started coming in here.
Okay, is it the one that you had at Canton, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. Now I know the airplane. I can't help you with any of your questions.
That's a fairly high aspect ratio airplane, right?
It's it's pretty much an SV, the same numbers as an SV11 wing. A little bit more wingspan, 2 inches on each side. Other than that, it's identical.
You know what the aspect ratio is? Is about 5/8 to 1, or?
I don't know exactly what it is, but the thing is, like, the tail is further back on mine, and because the tail is much further back, the tracking ability of the plane it's far better than anything else I flew before.
Well, if you're tracking well, so it's tracking through the rounds well, and you get in the tight corners, I don't know what you're searching for. Because you said before you had the tightest corners, you could imagine.
I just feel like because I have a limited amount of hand movement,
Yeah.
I think I can just
Go to more
maybe
space. Yeah, open it up.
Maybe a little bit more spacing. I mean, I can try it both ways. I can either go more spacing, or I can also adjust it at the bell crank by moving the application points on my elevator and the flaps and make them to move more. But obviously, the easiest is to just do it on the handle.
Oh, however you adjust the speed of the system, you may have to adjust the speed of the system.
Yeah.
The other thing is
I may be pushing it. So the cutoff point would be for me. Are you saying the cutoff point should be like whenever you cannot hold the rounds nice and smooth anymore, and
that has
you say stop over there?
That's making a lot of assumptions. That's making a tremendous amount of assumptions. Yeah. You're assuming that the airplane is in optimal, perfect trim. You know, there's other things that can make an airplane not track in rounds. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of things that come into it. You know?
Yeah.
The one thing is that your the vertical CG, your CG is this way on one, and you flip it over. That thing, now if you don't have that right, it can throw off the airplane. With that one that Chris Rudd did, we can move the battery and adjust that vertical CG, and it made a big difference in the rounds.
That is the single biggest advantage to electric. As far as I'm, that's the single biggest advantage to electric is the ability to adjust not only the pitch center of gravity, but more importantly the roll center of gravity, the vertical center of gravity. To me, that's the most important thing about electric. But I'm not sure that that's going to give you anything that's going to affect the sensitivity or the tracking in rounds. That'll adjust. That'll affect how the outboard wing rides upright and inverted because of a pendulum effect of the weight being low, airplane being tethered by the lead outs, go around in a circle, the course is out, and it pushes the outboard wing up. If the CG is low, it pushes the outboard wing up upright and down inverted.
Yeah.
You know, so that's. I'm not sure they're not interrelated, but I don't see that that's the main thing we're talking about here. When you're talking about an airplane that's not tracking properly through rounds, I'm hearing something else, you know.
Oh, I didn't say it's not tracking through the rounds, but what I'm talking about is having the handle spacing so large that it gets touchy in a rounds or in level flight.
So is it
went too far?
Is it touchy in the rounds now?
No, it tracks nicely, pretty good.
All right, and you're getting the hard corner, but again, I don't see what you say you're just using a little too much wrist. Open the handle up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing, just opening just a little bit.
Yeah, don't think about it, do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the whole thing is, if you think about how far you move your handle, if you watch somebody fly, they're barely moving their hand.
Depends on the person.
Yes.
You know, but most people out there flying in there, they're really not moving their hand that far.
Yeah.
You know, to deflect that.
I use more of a finger.
Paul Walker puts
like that.
Paul Walker has a lot of control throw motion in his wrist, and so did Billy Simons, more than anybody I've ever seen. He just had a tremendous amount of wrist both ways.
Yeah, but they may do that, but they're running out of. If you pull the airplane out and go full up, go full down. I don't care how far you move your wrist. You can tuck it around behind you. You're not going to get any more throw on them elevators, unless you have an elevator that throws that far and that far.
Well, that's just it. That's what. If you look at those charts, and it's funny because I was maybe I could call a picture up here. We were talking about this. Dean Pappas and I were talking about this the other day, and Lanny Shorts, his son, had taken some 8mm footage that his father had taken at the 75 Nationals, and he put it onto YouTube. And there's a link on Stunthangar to go look at that. And I was watching my flight, and the airplane came over the top, and I noticed how much the elevators moved. A tremendous amount. I could see it in the sunlight glancing off the elevators. So then I looked at another picture of my airplane. I was wiping it off at some contest, and I had the nose on the ground, and the controls were deflected all the way. And it looked like I had about 70 degrees of control. Yeah. Now, sure, I don't think you can get all 70 degrees in, But the faster your system is, the more you're going to get in faster. And that allows you to carry your further forward CG and kind of have your cake and eat it too. You're going to get the controls in fast to make the airplane corner, giving it tight enough to not stall, and you're going to be able to stabilize after the corner because the CG is further forward. And
that's going to track nicely.
Yeah. Well, Paul mentioned something. This is important. He mentioned something, I think it was on Stunthangar, that was really interesting. He said that everybody back then, when he and Jimmy were flying against each other in the early 80s, he said that everybody said that Jimmy had a lot more corner than he did. And he went and slowed down and watched things on video, and he said, no, Jimmy didn't have any more corner. He said, I have more corner. But Jimmy was flying faster, and it made the airplane look like it had more corner. Now, you ever notice how fast Paul flies? He flies very fast. And it's looking like he has more. He has a lot of corner, but it looks like even more.
Well, that's the other thing is too, is that at the World Championship, if you really watch, and I sit there and watch everybody fly, the closer you fly to the ground, the faster your corner looks.
The faster your corner was or look?
It looks like it snaps it more. The Europeans were not flying tighter corners. They were flying lower bottoms.
Were they flying fast?
No. Igor system.
Did you take?
But they were flying these corners at 4 feet.
You mean the bottom's at 4 feet?
Yeah, the bottom's at 4 feet.
Right.
Hey guys, it's nice being here again, and sorry, gotta go.
Give that a try, Aaron. Open that handle up. Try it.
Yep, we'll do.
Does it work? Go back the other way.
Yeah.
All right, Trey, and thanks for dropping in on us. We'll see you next time.
All right, take care, guys.
See ya. You still got me on there, Rusty?
I do. I had two of you for a minute there.
Yeah, I had to switch units. Sorry.
Well,
that's all right.
That's what I was meaning about how far you throw your hand or whatever. Let's say you have to move it an inch, or you got to set up so you move it a quarter inch.
Oh, cool! Look what Mike's
And
got.
I'm not sure, method, if it's precision or whatever. If you need to go 80%,
little steam engine
here to get 80% on an inch movement or a quarter inch movement to find the 80%.
Well, then that's going to affect, the way the CG, that, if you're going a quarter inch, you get 80 degrees of elevator, you're in trouble because you're never going to be able to stick enough nose weight in to stabilize it,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think the wider and the bigger movement is easier to find that. Say you're shooting for 80 and you hit 79. On other ones, you overshoot or undershoot because that little teeny bit of movement ain't there.
There's a certain school of thought that says you can't get more than about 30 degrees of elevator movement in no matter what. And that may be true. However, how fast you get it there is an issue.
Right.
All right.
That's pretty cool. I never thought about putting an external torch in the firebox on my steam engine.
Is that going in one of your speed ships, Mike?
Well, I had my mic turned off there because I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, and I know I've had this on here before, but this was my grandfather's model steam engine. I used to play with this when I was a kid in the 70s on his front porch.
I have one like that.
Just a little diversion from the stunt topic, just.
So has that thing got a relief valve in it? Mike.
I'm sure it does.
Mike.
Yeah.
Does that have a relief valve in that boiler?
Yeah, you got to do the whistle every once in a while, or you got to run the engine. Well, listen, I haven't blown it up since 1972. I've been playing with this, and it's never blown up. So I think I think it's safe.
Yeah.
My dad gave me those
Then you
several
blow that up.
Christmases
That'd be
as
like
I
a
was
stick of
growing
dynamite
up.
going off.
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to get going. I have a guy coming over tomorrow morning with his dog. We're gonna have play dates with our dogs. So.
Oh, okay. Big fun.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Bob.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yep. One of these days, Genesis is on the build list too.
Yeah, well, I'm finishing up that Genesis story. Matter of fact, Joey Perovich just did a real good proofread for me, and Chuck Holzapfel's doing one too. And it's over 80,000 words. It's like 180 pages, and
Wow.
it's gonna be something. So hopefully I'll get that story done, and with that, I'm gonna offer 3 sets of plans with that whole thing. So
Fantastic. That'll be one. I like that play.
yeah, it's an interesting story. And Les McDonald finally convinced me to write the Poland story, which is how we all got arrested in Poland at gunpoint, and the State Department got involved and everything.
Hear that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good story. So we finally wrote it down. Although the State Department told me back then not to write about it. They contacted my boss and said, don't let them write about it, So, but I think the statute of limitations has run out on that now.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, you can try out. They're going to be back in Poland here. 2000.
No, I'm never going back to Poland again. No, that's got very bad memories for me.
Burn that bridge, huh?
Yeah.
What you say? We got a Pollock in here with us right now.
I didn't even know this. This is something interesting because I was researching that whole thing because Les had convinced me to do that. And I never researched or found out about the last flights of that thing. I know that I won a round and Les won a round. But and he won by, I think, 13 points out of 6,000 or something. And so I was just happy to get out of there, without being arrested. And in doing my research, I came across Bill Draper's report in Aeromodeler, which is now on the Barton control line site. And I read the report, and I didn't realize that I had the highest score in the finals. I didn't even know that.
Sure.
So it was kind of interesting to find out almost 40 years later that I won the finals. I just lost in the qualifying. I didn't have a high enough qualifying score to combine with my high finals flight to win the thing, but it was pretty close. Yeah. So that was pretty interesting.
You took second.
I'll be looking forward to that.
Les took first.
Les took first.
You took second?
I was second that year. Billy was third. We took 1, 2, 3, and that's why we got out of the country. They told us because it would have been an embarrassment to arrest the winning team. So I don't know how much truth there is to that. It makes for a great story, though.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Be good, guys.
Yep. Take it easy.
See you, Bob. Well, I was just trying to break up the monotony there a little bit there, Rusty, with the old steam engine run.
Yeah, thanks. I like looking at stuff like that. My dad gave me those on several Christmases throughout the years while I was growing up. They used to come with these little anemic styrofoam looking blocks for fuel. And
yeah, they still have them. I don't have any for this one, so I just use
Sterno, but that torch you had looked like a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it worked.
It'll probably get it hot faster than you want if you don't pay close attention.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if it had a relief valve in it, so it didn't go boom.
Well,
Yep,
another time some shit blew up in my face, man.
Break a little bit. Uh-oh. Did I lose everybody?
No, we're here. What do you
There.
Can you see that sunburst airplane?
Yeah.
do?
That is a SIG Commander.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah. That was one of my first radio controlled airplanes.
My dad had 2 of them.
Yeah. And then this is an advertisement from Model Airplane News in 1977 of that airplane. A guy in Wichita here flew at that SIG fly-in.
It was foam wing, right?
Is it styrofoam wing?
Foam core wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Four wing. Yeah. Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad built two of them in the early 80s.
They
Yeah,
still make, Six still makes a few models with foam core.
You got looks like you got quite a bunch of RC stuff back there, Doug. Are you more into RC than you are control line, or?
No, I've got some RC stuff, yeah, but I do a lot of free flight stuff too.
Oh, okay. Free flight. Yeah.
That's one. That's a super sniffer.
Yeah.
And, a Jasco streak.
Nice.
And a half awake. I don't know if you can see it. It's
Yeah, I caught it. I know what a half awake is. Yeah.
Yeah, that one right there. And then some of the ones I've built. This is my own design. It's called Dudley. See if we can find it here. Dudley.
Looks like, okay. Yeah.
Is that a Pee-wee on it? Or an 049?
Yeah. The 020.
Oh,
Oh,
20.
yeah, okay, a Pee-wee. Yeah.
Yep. And just a whole bunch of stuff. There's this is the bottom wing isn't on it, but this is a Mimi.
Okay.
It was in aeromodeler or something in 1951 or something like that. That's got a little.
Doug, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I posted on the Cox Engine forum here a few months ago. I was looking for a very simple, like all balsa free flight airplane for an 010, for a TD 010. Because I have 6 of those. I have 6 of those brand new in the jewel case. Actually, I have 5 in the jewel case, and I have 1 that's been run on a littlest stick RC plane. But I was looking for an all-sheet balsa plane for an 010 to make a free flight that I could take to Muncie with me next summer, just to bomb around with Sam. Do you know of any 010 free flight?
This would be a good one. This is a baby biwinger.
Okay.
And it's all sheet, you can see. But I've got an 020 on it.
You got a 20 on it. So would an 010 fly it, or would I have to scale it down?
Oh, yeah, the wingspan on it, is only 13 inches. Let's see. See, that's 13 inches.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it was for 010. TD, TD 010.
Okay. Is that on outer zone?
I'm not sure, but probably. What else? This is a fun one. I don't know. Can you see that flying saucer?
Yeah, you're moving your camera a little bit too fast, so everything's getting.
It takes a minute for the camera to lock. Yeah. Yeah, we got a good picture now.
That right there.
That's I was really looking for something that was all sheet balsa. I don't want to build ribs. I don't want to cover anything. I want to do an all sheet design.
Yep, the baby biwinger would be ideal.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Baby biwinger. Where did you get the plans for it?
From Dan Walton. Shoot, I think it's Air Trails. But then Outer Zone has this one. It's Ebenezer, and it's all sheet. And it has a KMB 049 on it.
Okay.
But a little any little work on that, I'm sure. You know, 049 detuned a little would work.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this too. Since you seem to be a pretty good free flight guy, you got a lot of that stuff. Have you ever heard of something called a card core? It was an 020 free flight model based on the Concorde, and it was made of sheet balsa and a poster board wing, and it was published in either Model Aviation or Flying Model sometime in the 70s, and it was for an 020 pusher. So it was a pusher version of the Concorde, but made of white poster board. Are you familiar with that model?
What I've got right here is a Valkyrie.
Valkyrie?
Okay, yeah, I'm on the computer right now. I'll call you when I was off.
Can you see the Valkyrie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a good picture.
That's great.
Yeah, that has a P wing also.
Okay.
Back here, it's a pusher.
Do you know Hardcore though? Are you familiar with that model?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay. So it's a Concorde with a balsa fuselage and a poster board wing. And it's the wing, you fuel proof it with thin down white glue is what you do.
Oh, wow.
I've been looking. Dad had one of those, and we flew the hell out of that thing at the RC field all the time. And then one time we trimmed a little wrong, and it flew away, and it went like a mile. And by the time we didn't find it till the next day, and the moisture overnight had warped the wing and just ruined the airplane. We didn't get it back till the next day. It ruined. So
the is sheet ball. You know, it's all sheet balsa, and the plan is right there. If we see if I can get you in here, I think I got this off of Outer Zone.
Okay.
It might have been Hip Pocket. I'm not sure.
Okay. Have you ever seen the SST for the 049? The SST Supersonic Transport Kit? It was actually kitted for free flight or single channel pulse rudder.
Oh, wow.
I actually sold that kit on eBay for over $100 about a year ago.
Jeez.
I didn't want to build it. It was one of Dad's old stash. It still had the original sticker from Joe's Hobby Shop. It was $11.99 in about 1977, and I sold it for over $100 on eBay. Now it's called a Supersonic Transport. It was an 049 pusher, and it actually had a box fuselage, but it was a canard. It had a canard up front and the big Delta with an 049. Actually, it wasn't a pusher. I take that back. It was a tractor, and the motor was on the rudder. It was the tractor motor on the rudder on the back of the airplane. And it was either set up for free flight or single channel rudder. I kind of regret selling it now because with all the micro servos and stuff that easily
would work now. Yeah.
But I was an old. I had so much stuff. I was just getting rid of stuff. But I really want to build the card core. Card core, I think it was called the card core or the con card. Maybe it was the con card because it was cardboard wing.
Yeah.
And I can't find anything on it anywhere. I can't find it anywhere. But I know my dad built it out of either MA or Flying Models that the plans were in. And I even put a post out asking anybody on some free flight sites, and nobody's heard of it.
Well, I'll ask here. We've got a pretty good free flight club here, the Wham 56 of the SAM club.
Man, I would love it if you could track somebody down that has that. Like I said, it was an 020 pusher, cardboard, simple profile balsa fuselage. Yeah. And it was great.
The Valkyrie was really easy to build too. It's just sheet balsa, and you cut the fuselage so it has a nice curve that the wing adapts when you put the two pieces of the fuselage together. And so it's the airfoil. It's a reflex airfoil, and it flies so neat. Because it's the little Cox engines that are reed valve will run either direction.
Right.
So you can put a tractor propeller on it and run it backwards, and it goes right.
Still going.
And yeah, so but when you launch that thing, you just throw it straight horizontal, and it does about 150-foot circle, climbing maybe 30, 40 feet every lap. And as long as you let the engine run, it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
But that baby would be a really easy one to get going first.
Yeah,
and I
the
can
baby
send
bywing,
that.
All sheet. I can slam it together. I just Sam and I, we go to Muncie and we fly stunt and combat, fly all the combat events, a few stunt events. But we were taking a lot of rubber powered stuff out there just to fart around with Dan Banjock. In the evening, we go fly rubber power stuff. And of course, Sam's got hand launch gliders. I build them. My favorite is the Thermic 20. That's the old Jetco Thermic 20 chucker glider. That's a good one. And I thought, I got some of these motors here. I'm going to build a little gas-powered free flight to take out to Muncie.
Yeah, I'd sure like to have some old 010s. Just tears me up. I don't have a TD anymore.
Yeah. Well, I got a bunch of them, but I'm not getting off them because they were Dad's. And his plan, he always wanted to build a B-17 with line B-17 with 4 010s on it.
Yeah, there was a guy, that Dan Walton fella that I was talking about. He had a Spruce Goose with 010s on it.
I've seen it. I've seen the YouTube video. Fly.
Yeah, he was a Wichita guy.
Yeah, I've seen that video. I've seen that. And my old man, he bought out the hobby shop of 010 parts when they closed the hobby shop. Dude, I've got like 50 of the little gray propellers for the 010s.
Those are the good ones. They don't flex.
Got a dozen spring starters. I think I have 30 glow plugs, brand new, still in the little bubble case. I've got firewall mounts, tank mounts. There's even there's Venturis and needles in there. I mean, I've got a ton of 010 parts, but I'm keeping them all and the engines too because I want to do something with them someday. So.
Yeah, this was a little TD-010 airplane, and it's just a control liner, but don't have the engine for it now.
Yeah. The only one
it flew away.
The only plane we ever flew with the 010 was the littlest stick, which was the RC plane with the. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Do you know it? Yeah. Dad had a pulse.
Yeah, it's like
pulse
teeny tiny ugly stick.
Yeah. That was the only airplane we ever hung an 010 on. So I take it out to the field every once in a while, and I'll screw it to the side of my pit box and start it up for the guys because some of the guys I fly with, they've never seen one, and I'll be like, "Can you believe this is turning 30,000 RPM?" And they're like, "No way!"
Yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah, and then that's how I lost mine. I put it on a little free flight biplane I made. That's one of those, and it was windy. I shouldn't have gone out, and I'd run it. It had a little like a eyedropper fuel tank on it, so you could watch the fuel go down, 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 and then I'd launch it. Right before it had about 3-5 seconds of runtime left, and so I've been running it in the garage that way and timing it. I took it out to the field. It's too windy. Let the fuel go down, down, down. And right when it was time to launch it, it picked up probably 10,000 RPM. You know, it leaned out as soon as I let go of it.
So
And it was gone. It was gone. So it ran, you know, it leaned out like that, then it ran a whole lot longer than it had,
yeah.
you know, and so it flew away. It was a really good flight though, but I lost my engine doing that.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I'm about
The only one we ever lost.
I'm about to screen share a picture of a engine that I'd like to see run sometime.
Okay.
It's a Ronald Valentine. Let's see
Oh,
if
yeah.
I can.
These are all
Very good
diesels,
picture.
though, aren't they? He's got them smaller
Yeah.
than I know, but they're diesel. They're not glow. And I mean, you know, teeny tiny that'll fit inside of a quarter, you know, that small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this one, can y'all see that now? It's
Yeah.
sitting on the V key on the keyboard.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that'll run. And I don't think he ever intends them to actually be used. I think they do run, but I think they're more for display.
I'd like to fly one.
I don't know what the
Got a-
placement on that little engine is. It's got to be tiny. Got to be 0.00 something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was on a website not long ago that showed like the smallest displacement engines ever built. And there's definitely stuff out there smaller than an 010 that were manufactured.
Yeah.
Well, the Cox holds the record though because they have the smallest production.
Production.
And a real workhorse too. That 010 will fly over and over and over. I've only got one. It belongs to Ron Cribbs, but it's on my micro Ringmaster.
Have you flown that, Rusty?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
How long lines do you have on yours?
I think we had 15 feet.
Yeah.
And it was about too fast if you got a peak run. I mean, too fast for anybody that can't turn circles pretty quick for a minute, because it ran for a pretty long time. And we had it on that little micro ring for only time that plane's ever flown. And Ron got one good fast run out of it. And my run, it was a little bit too rich, so it wasn't quite as fast. And that little plane wouldn't do a loop though. It rolled in. I think maybe a little trimming and I could get it to do a loop, but every time I even tried to flip it on its back, it just hit the ground and went loose and hit the ground.
Well, shit, I need to build a micro for Sam. I need to build one because I got engines.
This was made out of meat tray
forums. Cut that plane out for me, and Greg somebody, I think, but he also put in the box with it a built-up Ringmaster for an 010 with a stick and tissue wing. So I need to put that together someday too.
Yeah, the last time Ron was up here, he was working on that because he travels around working on that stuff and takes things with him to work on and fly. So he showed me that built-up Ringmaster when he was here last time.
Oh, did he? Yeah. What was your impression of that?
That one was made out of a meat tray?
Yeah, just the foam meat trays. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you can see. I don't know. I don't know. You can't see the leg.
Yeah.
Recycle.
There it is. Yeah.
Number 6. Number
and
6.
all my stuff. Yeah, wash it good. Wash it real good. You get salmonella.
Yeah, don't lick it.
Want to get the bad chicken on you, man.
I usually don't lick my airplanes, so I'll be safe.
What's that?
I say I usually don't lick my airplanes, so I'll be safe.
Yeah.
I have kissed one before, I think.
They've kissed the ground.
I have kissed. Yeah, my airplanes have done their share of kissing.
Yeah. the worst one I had was my Vector. It was real windy at the contest here one year, and geez, it just came out of the outside loops or something, and I don't know. I just stair-stepped it down and smashed it in. It was awful. That was the same year Jim Lee annihilated his Sunflyer, and the engine that was on it was one of two in the world. It destroyed that engine of his. That was too bad. Yeah, he doesn't like talking about that. That was a bad deal.
I've got a folder around here somewhere with a compendium of crashes to find that to do a slideshow for you. I don't know where it is now, but I'll get that one night.
Didn't hear what you said.
I said,
hey guys, I gotta go.
Nicer guy than Jim Lee.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll see you, Mike.
See you later, Steve.
All right, bye.
Steve's leaving. I'm not leaving.
Okay, I had mixed up. Sorry.
No, I just said, have you ever met a nicer guy than Jim Lee? I mean,
No.
that dude is just,
You know,
he's a true
that's nice.
gentleman, and he's just so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy.
Yep.
Great guy.
Yep. Yeah, well, do you have some old Baby Bee engines?
I have a drawer full or two, maybe two drawers full. Yeah.
Yeah, that Ebenezer would be a good one for one of those. That free flight.
Well, I'm stuck on the 010, man. I want to do something.
Okay.
I'm not interested for an 020. I don't even own an 020 anymore. I sold them all.
Yeah, I don't have any.
If I could get that con car, hardcore, whatever it is, I would buy an 020, and I'd pay eBay prices for a new one, you know, with an 020 pusher prop if that's what it took. Just because Dad built one and we flew the piss out of that thing in the 70s, man. I love that. We had so much fun with that airplane that I want to build one so I can fly it with Sam, you know. But I'm not interested in any 049 free flight or anything bigger than that. I want something for the 010 and then maybe the 020. We got a couple of the helicopters, you know, the Cox helicopters. We fart around with those every once in a while.
Yeah.
They're fun.
I'll look in here and see if I can get the Baby Bywinger stuff and lead you. Actually, I think it's right here.
Hey, Mike, do you know a guy on CEF named Gregory? I can't remember his last name. I think that's who cut those kits for me for the 010.
Greg Rodney?
No. Ah, dang.
Oh, looky there.
Yeah, this is the Baby Bywinger patterns and stuff. They're all cut out. But I'll see if I can find the actual thing, because it's really easy to get trimmed out if you got a place you can, you know, throw it. Because you got to do that before you put power to it. Make sure it'll glide correctly first.
Oh yeah, I got that.
I've done that with my half-A planes. Just walked out into the yard with them and hurled them just to see how they float.
Yep. Got to do that with a free flight plane just to make sure.
Do they crash just like if you're on the handle, Rusty?
Do what, Mike? What did you say?
I said, do they crash just like if you're on the handle?
No, they slid in just like they were supposed to. I got furious. I got furious at my little jumping bean one day, and I just picked it up and threw it as hard as I could, and the damn thing flew about 25 feet and settled in, landed on the mains and rolled out. Full stop. So.
Oh, yeah. I got a jumping bean kit here, a box, and it's missing like the fuselage part. But trying to get rid of that too. Need a jumping bean? New one?
No.
I'm going to show you what I did to my jumping bean. When I find it, it'll take me a minute to find it. So carry on. I'll let you know when I got it.
Okay. Doug, I'll tell you, any more half-A stuff? I mean, we fart around with a little bit of it in our backyard because we can fly. I got an acre lot here, so we fly some half-A in the backyard. But they just don't fly that well, you know. And my son he's way beyond any half-A stuff.
RC stuff or control line?
Control line. Control line. I mean, his skills are way beyond what any half-A plane can do. The only real half-A we fly is half-A combat stuff because it goes fast, flies good. You know what I mean?
But you running Floras or what are the AS? What is that other one? Norvell?
No, we're flying Profis and Foras on our half-A combat stuff. You know, ball bearing Russian motors. They run, they turn 35,000 RPM and they go
crazy.
To be,
you know Rod Christie? You know Rod Christie?
No, I don't believe I do.
He's a Wichita guy, or Jeff Johnson.
Jeffrey Johnson, yeah, I know Jeffrey Johnson. Yeah. Name, I haven't met him. But the half-A stunt event that they're going to have at Brodax this year has kind of piqued my interest in half-A because it's going to be a stunt event. But I'm going to run a combat engine on a bladder on a big foamy half-A plane that I build, and it's going to be good because I'm going to have a lot of wing area. I'm going to have a big wing running a high performance engine, and it'll have the wing area to fly well. Because most half-A
what line length do you think you'll have on that?
I'm sorry?
How long the lines do you propose for that?
As long as I need, because there's no rules on the lines. They're allowing any half-A motor up to 061 in any fuel system. So you can run a suction tank, you can run a bladder, you can run a hard tank, you know, whatever you want. So I'm going to build an airplane with a half-A combat motor on a bladder, and then I'll figure out the line length after that. I can
get the speed to what you want.
40 to 52 if I have to slow down.
Right, to get slowed down to where you need it.
Can y'all see that plane right there?
Yeah, you've had that one for a long time, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, when my jumping bean finally fell apart, I ripped the bell crank all the way out through the wing and took out every rib and busted it all to shit. So I put a plywood beam mount nose on it and turned it into that. That's it with a Norvell 061 on it. It is
badass, Rusty.
It's a 7-ounce little screamer. I added static flaps on the wing to make it bigger, but that's the original jumping bean wing, and everything else is pretty much just fabricated.
That's very cool, Rusty. Very cool.
Let's see, I got to.
But again, I'm going to say this again. I think most half-A designs just don't have enough wing area to fly well, to turn corners well. They stall through everything. No matter how big you make the maneuvers, half-A planes stall through everything. So I'm going to have big fat foam wing area. And that's the other thing, Doug. I'm using foam wing cores. I'm using half-A combat foam wing.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, those are a proven design and they work.
Let me show you something.
Doug, you're a Cox Engine Forum member, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Gus, the IA.
Oh, you're Gus. Okay, didn't realize that. That's right. I remember Ron called you Gus.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a cool picture you drew of Ron crashing your Nobler.
You know, I can't find that anymore. I
No,
can't.
I'll send you a copy of it if you PM me, or I can send it through CEF. I'll PM you with it.
Either way, yeah, that was funny because the reason I did that was because after he said that he'd crashed the Nobler when the engine died, it made people think that when the engine died on their Noblers, they were going to crash them. You know, that was the
Well, he tried to tuck it. He tried to tuck it and didn't have any energy. That's why it crashed, right?
Right. Yeah, it was inverted when the engine quit, but he pulled into outside loop to come over the top to get back. But he was downwind.
I've tried it before.
Yeah, it just ran out. It just crashed right at his feet, basically.
You got to have the stars aligned and a picture of Jim Walker in your pocket. If you want to try to do that, you might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, it just didn't work for him that day. It was, and you know, the reason the engine died was my fault. The thing was cowled in too tight, you know, so it wasn't getting enough air to cool it. And I don't know, it was just something we just weren't prepared for that day, and it happened. Yeah, send me that when you can.
He still feels so bad about that.
He shouldn't. It is not his fault. There's nothing, no ill will at all.
He's worried that you were mad at him.
Never, no, not a bit.
Have you seen him since he's got a beard?
No.
He looks great. He looks a lot less. He's probably watching us, so Ryan, pardon me, but you know how I talk. He looks a lot less dorky with the beard now.
All right, so Doug, I took. You familiar with the Brodak Electric Gladiator?
No, I don't do electric. I just shy away from that 100%.
Okay. I'm going to show you one real quick. Me too. I do too. Brodak Electric Gladiator, half a combat ship. Okay. Your standard size for a half a 34-inch wing. 34-inch wing. They sell it with an electric package. It's got a motor, an ESC, and a timer that runs for 3 minutes. You fly it on 42-foot lines. Well, we had several of those, and we wrecked them. But I had the motor package.
You mean you crashed them?
Which, where am I? Oh, there we go.
Saying wreck's better than saying accident.
Supposed to be like an equivalent of a half A motor for that combat plane. Took the motor ESC package, and I built this based on that. So that was the half A electric Brodak motor. Those are Phil Cartier's half A hacker cores. Now, granted, these ones are pretty long. They weren't cut down. They were 24-inch panels each. So that has a 48-inch wingspan. But
Is that carbon fiber landing gear?
I just did, yeah. They were carbon fiber landing gear off an old RC plane that we had. So this was all built from scraps that we had in the garage.
Yeah. I
had the cores. I designed the fuselage based on my buddy Larry's design for the Stunt bot, is what it's called. Very simple, just profile. This thing flies great, and it has I put an RC car throttle on it. It's got a receiver and an RC car throttle, so you can spool it up, you can speed it up and slow it down. This thing flies on 52s. It'll fly the whole stunt pattern, no problem. Has no bad tendencies or anything like that. So my idea for half a stunt is to build something exactly like this, maybe a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna put one of my Russian combat motors on one of my half a combat motors on a bladder, and it's gonna have way more wing area and fly way better than your typical half a stunt kit. you know.
So does that still have a 48-inch wing?
It does. This one does. But only, and it was a fluke that I got these cores. So typically these panels are 20 inches. Okay. But I happen to get some that Phil made out of 24-inch blocks. So I just left them that long on this design. They're gonna be cut down. I don't think I'm gonna go full 48 inches with the half A motor. I'm thinking I'm gonna cut them down to 18 and have a 36-inch wingspan or somewhere there in abouts. The fuselage is going to be identical. I mean, I'll figure out the numbers when I cut the wings down. I'll figure out the numbers for the length of the fuselage and the size.
Are you
of
at
the elevator.
0, or are they, is the tail and the wing and the motor all on the same line, or have you shifted up or down on any of them?
I don't understand the question.
Is the stabilizer higher than the wing?
No. It's all on the thrust line. And probably
everything is 0, right? Straight down.
0. It's all 0. Elevator,
oh, is that the line right there?
Yeah, it is.
Is that
I didn't fuel proof it because it's electric. I just left all I left all my pencil marks still on there because there was
okay.
No
so that
fuel proof it.
Yeah, so that is the line. Everything is on the same line.
Everything is on the same line. So it's going to be a little bit smaller version of this with a half A combat motor on a bladder. That's going to be my entry for half A.
What pattern are they going to fly?
Full
the regular
pattern.
pattern.
Full stunt pattern.
They're changing it a little. They're eliminating the 2-lap rule. And
they are eliminating the 2-lap rule because some guys, I mean, there might be guys running medallions or Texacos or stunt, golden bees and stuff like that with a stunt tank. So, but there is no requirement on the engine and fuel system other than it's got to be 061 or smaller. That's it. So guys will be running TDs, guys will be running medallions, guys will be running golden bees. As long as the displacement is under, you can do what you want. I think for half A, the biggest airplane you could fly with the most powerful power plant that's under 061 is going to be an advantage versus trying to fly. I mean, I've got a mini stunt rocket in here, which I think would be a great half A stunt plane, but it's got a very small wing area. It's very small.
Yeah, so you want one that'll actually fly instead of just flip around.
Instead of just flip around, right? I mean, I think the Pinto is a capable flyer. I think the Baby Nobler that Stan sells is, and I have those kits. But man, the Russian motors are so freaking powerful on a bladder. I can put it on a bigger airframe and get better performance. I mean, that's just my thinking, I don't know how well it's going to work out, but just based on how well this airplane flies right here, some shit I dreamed up and built out of just cores and parts that I had to stop, I can definitely scale this appropriately for the power of one of my Foras or Profis. You know what I mean?
And right now it's doing a 4-foot wingspan.
That one is, yeah.
Oh, you think the Fora is going to be chopped down a little?
Yeah, and I'll probably run a Profi on it. Actually, I'll run a Profi. It won't be 4-foot wingspan. I'm thinking it'll be. I'll probably build it at 40 inches. I'll probably cut the panels to 20 inches on each side and fly it and see how it does. And if it's not enough or too much, if it's too much, I can cut it down. I can cut the panels down. But as far as the numbers on the fuselage, the size of the fuse and the elevator and all that, losing an inch or two on the wings isn't going to make a huge difference. But then if it's too fast, I can just lengthen the lines on it.
Yeah.
I can lengthen the line. But I want to have huge wing area. I want to have a super light wing loading if I can.
Yep. Because that's where it will fly instead of just being a rock on a string.
Exactly. And that's the problem with all the half-A stuff. You can't take a Pinto or a Baby Nobler. You can make it go faster, but you're still, if you fly it on 42s or even 45s or 47s, making it faster, it's not going to turn any better because it's not going to have the lift. It just won't be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thinking. I'm a combat guy, man. I'm not a stunt guy. So I know wing area and wing loading is key, man. Make it light. Right. Give
Mike,
it a light wing loading.
Have you ever flown a baby flight streak? Those things really stick with you. They don't seem to stall like you're talking about. I got a 061 and a 051 on mine, and they stay out tight. I fly them on 45 feet sometimes.
Well, I'm not talking about them being tight, Rusty. I'm talking about them turning without
side slipping or
without losing all their lift and stuff. Yeah. They have to keep flying. Once it turns, it's got to continue to keep.
If you hit it, it's going to go, wah,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm running a bladder too, because the engine is just going to be on. Yeah,
it's going to be screaming the whole time.
Power.
Yeah.
Now, the rules. The other thing in the rules is you do have to take off. You got to have wheels. You got to take off because we're going to be running off the paved circle, or no, I'm sorry, where they fly expert. That it has like an eighth of a lap takeoff area. It does have to have wheels. If you don't have wheels and you hand launch, you're going to get a few deductions in your points for takeoff. You can hand launch, but they want to see wheels. And then they said they're going to be gracious on landings because, of course, we'll be landing in the grass with a half-A plane. Everybody knows what's going to happen. So I think they're going to judge you just based on your descent.
Approach.
And if you hit the ground and it flips over, they're gonna be nice to everybody because. But I mean, I'm gonna put big fat wheels on mine so I can grease the landing on the grass, man.
Yeah.
Here in Wichita, we have 2 paved circles. We've got a great facility here. If you can find it on Google Earth.
I've already seen it.
Yeah, you can see the 2 circles and then the little pads out farther away where the grass, the combat circles are. There's little pads for the pilots out there. But check it out on Google Earth. We got a great spot, great place. It's underutilized, actually.
I'm pretty jazzed about half-A at Brodax, but I think I've been blabbing too much on these hangouts lately about what my game plan is. I think there's some other guys that I brought over that they're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, they're going to Brodax. Like, yeah, we need to run bladders, man. You're right. We should have suction tanks. We should run bladders, and we should build big airplanes. So I think I'm shooting myself in the foot there.
You've cramped your own style now.
It's all right, man. It's all good, man. It's all good. And the other thing too, which is nice, is there's going to be a BOM and appearance points for the airplane.
Good.
Good. You can share the airplane with one other pilot. You can share the airplane with another pilot. They just don't get appearance points. So it's to encourage more people to participate. So I'm going to build this plane. I'll get the appearance points for it. And then my son will fly it, and he'll get to fly it in the contest, but he won't get the points.
Is it going to be 20 points?
I'm not sure if it's a full 20 or what it's going to be, but there's a BOM and appearance points for the pilot that builds the model, but you're allowed to loan it to only one other pilot. You can't let 5 guys fly.
Right.
You can let one other pilot fly the airplane. But I think they're trying to make it a fun event, you know, encourage people to participate.
I got an
think it
appearance
sounds
trophy
funny,
for
yeah.
my planes at the contest.
I'm going to talk to Will about doing that at Huntersville.
What's that?
Having a half-A event.
Okay. Doug was getting ready to say something. What were you?
Yeah, I was just going to say about the appearance thing. I won the concours trophy at one of our contests. It's been a couple years ago, but it was with my Vector. And
you won't ever see me in any concours.
Apparently, it was the best looking airplane at the event that year. So
that's awesome.
Like, yeah,
congratulations, man. Good for you.
Just one.
Yeah.
Jack wants to know where the flying fields in Wichita are. I think he's looking
on Oliver and 31st Street between Pawnee and 31st Street South on Oliver.
On Oliver. Okay. 31st Street.
South.
We still got some YouTubers watching, Rusty?
Not very well. Let's see. We've got 10 people watching, actually. Yeah. I think that includes us.
Tonight that we passed over? Anybody ask any questions that we didn't get to?
A few minutes ago, Jack suggested putting
because you're
Charles in, then I'll do a YouTube report.
You're not very good at watching the chat, man.
That's it. It was 2015.
That's why I've tried encouraging all of you guys to start taking a look at it with me.
I can't because I'm on Hangouts on my phone. I can't.
I know. Oh, Doug was holding the trophy up. Doug, hold the trophy back up.
Let's see it, Doug. Let's see your hardware.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, guys.
This is the Concours Award.
Very nice.
Nice.
What year was that?
2015.
Oh, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, can you see it?
Trophy.
Yeah.
Is it backwards on you guys?
No.
Or is it right?
No, I see it. Hey, congratulations. Concours.
Big dude. Yep.
Okay. Time for a YouTube report. There hadn't been much action until just a few minutes ago. And 7 minutes ago, Jack Snavely said, when we were talking about the half-A stalling, Jack said, put flaps on it, and that foamy will be similar to the Stork half-A from Brodak that he has with an Orvelo 61 42-foot lines work good for him. And then, oh, yeah, that was it. And then he asked about the flying fields. So that's the only action that's been there since forever on YouTube.
Are flaps actually that much of an advantage on a half-A size airplane?
The only person I know that's tried them is Ron Cribbs, and he put flaps on a baby clown one time. I think it was a baby clown. And he said after he did that, it turns like stink, was to quote him. But that was back before he really had increased his skill set. So he was just getting kind of back into it then. What'd you say, Mike?
I tend to think that still those airframes are too small for flaps to be beneficial, man. They're just too small. FAs I don't think benefit from flaps. You got to get into 15 size planes before flaps make a difference. You know?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. When I built my Yak 9, everybody said, don't hook the flaps up. And I did it anyway, just because I'd never had a flaps plane before, but it'll turn loops the size of a beach ball. I mean, it's a snappy, really, it flies like a flappy plane.
Look at an Acromaster. Acromaster has flaps, and that's a good flying 15 size plane. It flies better than a junior ringmaster or a junior flight streak. And Acromaster definitely is better than both of those airplanes.
Yeah.
But I don't think half-A planes benefit from flaps at all. I think half-A planes have just too small a wing area, and they got to go so fast because you're running, you know, TDs or 049s. They got to go like stink. You're running short lines with short lap times, quick lap times, and you just you're slogging the plane through every maneuver on a every half stunt design. You're just dragging it through it. You're pushing it through and mushing it through, and everything gets lost.
Yeah, I really don't think, especially for the weight disadvantage of putting all that extra hardware in and stuff. I don't think it's worth it.
All Ron did was took a piece of wire and put a little. I think he sewed wings on. Hinges onto the flap, and then hooked the wire from the main control rod to the horn on the flaps. And so he didn't have to add much hardware, but that worked pretty good. I hadn't thought of connecting the coupling the flaps like that. But yeah, that was a pretty good idea. And hey, Charles, what's going on?
What's up, Rusty?
Say what?
I just got back from picking up an Olympic that a friend of mine gave me to replace my Vector.
Oh,
but this doesn't have a motor. It was built around an Aero Tiger 36. Trying to fire.
Yeah, I already got a couple of text messages.
Let's see what Doug's holding up. Oh, the Olympic Mark 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, cool. I look forward to flying it. I remember seeing it fly. Now, this plane is probably, I don't know, 13 years old at least, I think.
That's not a brick house design, is it?
No, it's a, what's his name?
Bob Baldini.
Yeah,
Bob
yeah, Bob, yeah.
I built Olympic Mark 6 from plans out of the outer zone one time. And they apparently put the CG in the wrong place on those plans. And I ruined 3 EW wood props trying to get it in the air, because every time they let go, launch it, it just nose right over. And broke. It just killed me. It took me 3 props to figure out it was nose heavy. And so I kept adding weight to the tail and finally got it off the ground. But by then it was so stinking heavy it didn't fly right.
I got a kit one time where the CG on drawing and the CG in the book were about 10% apart from each other. Big difference.
Yeah. I'm gonna check back and see what the plan I had from that scratch build or plans build was to what the plans are on the Brodak kit here.
Yeah.
And see if there is an error somewhere.
So Charles, if you really should put an Aero Tiger in that thing if that's what it was running. I don't know if a Thunder Tiger 36 is just gonna get you there, you know.
Yeah, that's what I got. The owner of the previous owner, he has some Aero Tiger 36, but no one's gonna part with him. So, but we'll see what happens. Maybe after he sees me fly with a Thunder Tiger 36, he might go, you know what? I'll let you borrow, and emphasize borrow.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe one of his Aero Tiger 36s.
I've got 2 Aero Tigers, but I'm not really inclined to get rid of them.
I understand,
especially since the Thunder Tiger's not made anymore, so Randy can't just whip up a batch of Aero Tigers anymore.
Right.
And I do have quite a few of the other Thunder Tiger 36s, because when I heard they were stopping making them, I went on a mission to buy as many as I could. So I was buying them on eBay. I was buying them from swap meets. Anywhere I could get them, I was buying them. Because even just with a Randy Needle and Venturi, the Thunder Tiger is a great motor,
That's what I've heard.
Or even a Jim Lee Venturi and Tiger Needle. They're excellent motors. but they're unobtainium. They aren't making any more. There is a limited number on the planet.
Yeah, I understand. I totally get it.
Yeah.
You know, I heard that you can buy parts. The parts are still available. So I could probably buy all the parts and assemble a Thunder Tiger 36.
I don't know about that. I know you can still get bearings. I know you can buy bearings for them. That's the easy part, but
getting it one piece at a time would probably be a lot more expensive, though, wouldn't it?
I have no idea. I was just told by this slime buddy of mine.
If you want one, what are you gonna do, man? You know,
Johnny Cash did that with the car.
I would, yeah, Johnny Cash. Yeah, he lives right down the road. Well, he used to. Charles, I would, you know, where I picked up probably half of the ones that I own are at RC swap meets.
Okay.
That's where I bought 4 of the 9 that I own. I bought at RC swap meet. And I buy a lot of engines at RC swap meet. A lot of OS, the LA 25s, 46s, and the 40s for combat stuff. It's where I get a majority of my engines. Is I hit, you know, all the RC swap meets in Middle Tennessee, and
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have them out there in California, don't you?
Yeah, there's got to be some people who have them. I just haven't found it yet. I just started looking.
Well, I mean, RC swap meets. Your big RC clubs got to have swap. And now's the time. It's the winter time. Now's the time.
Where are you located in California, Charles?
I'm in Escondido, California, just about 20 minutes north of San Diego.
I'll be right.
Pretty far south.
Yeah.
Yeah. My boy is in the Air Force at Travis up there.
Okay.
Way up north. The other boy's in the Air Force too. He's in Mountain Home, Idaho.
I have a son in the Air Force. He's in Colorado Springs, I think.
That's good. Good. What's his job?
You can't tell me.
Well, good job. That's good.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, so I'm looking for a Thunder Tiger. Right now I have a friend who's going to lend me a Thunder Tiger 36. So at least I can field the plane and see what's going on. But I'm going to put some feelers out and see what's up. I mean, because that was a popular motor. The Aero Tiger 36 is very popular. So there's got to be some statesmen that can't fly anymore that probably might want to part with on one, to see someone who's like me still flying and going for it.
Well, that's
are you building an Olympic also?
PAs, man. Like somebody who didn't fly anymore, and like sell me your PAs because I'm gonna fly them,
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna fly it.
I just don't want to get rid of their shit, man.
I meant to ask when Bob was on there that those guys that fly those airplanes with the big engines. Now, do they pull really hard, or they have them trimmed out so they're just nice and easy out there on the line?
Well, I can say about my big engine. I have a Strega with a Stalker 81, and for me, the plane felt comfortable. It's adjustable. I mean, if it's pulling too hard, you just reduce the line rake, at the lead out, and maybe take some tip weight out. But so I had mine set up where it felt very comfortable. And most people thought, "Oh, that plane must really, really pull," and it probably pulled. Fiddle faddle? What is that?
Fiddle faddle.
Fiddle faddle.
Yes, caramel popcorn and peanuts.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now it did pull harder than my Vector. My Vector had a LA 46 on it. I mean, but then the Strega weighs 75 ounces. So, all things being relative, it wasn't so much that the motor was big as the plane was big.
That's heavy. Doug, I can tell you, I just
Well, I
got.
want to fly an airplane that I have to lean back to hold it on. You know, I don't want to
I'll
have
let
to.
you know, Doug, as soon as I get to fly mine, because I just got 2 PA stunt ships. They're both SV-22s. One has a 65, one has a 61. I just got them. Well, I got them like 6 months ago, but just got all the engines and everything ready to go. But I haven't had a chance to fly them yet. I'm told the PA stunt ships they got some yank to them that they pull a little bit, but I fly big block fast combat with 36s at 130 miles an hour, so I can't imagine that they pull any more than that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I built a Wildman 60. You know, Floyd Carter's plane.
I sold my kit. I had a kit and I sold it.
Yeah, well, I built from plans he sent me because he was offering them here a while, several years ago to anybody that wanted them on Stunthangar. And so I built that airplane and put a OS 46 FX on it.
Right.
And the thing was designed for a gas, ignition engine.
Going R6.
And so, yeah, and so it would have had a lot of weight up there on the short nose that it had. Well, I ended up with a lightweight engine on there and the short nose. I ended up with about a 2-pound chunk of lead in the nose, and that airplane ended up weighing 82 ounces.
Oh my God.
And I put it on 65-foot lines, and it flew like a dream. Man, it was great. But then it was just a little too heavy. It just was not right. So I took the weight out, cantilevered the nose out so the engine was out farther forward, to balance it, and flew it again. And it was a whole different airplane. Man, that thing flies great. Seeing that great, huge, it's a big airplane. And seeing that thing fly around, it was awesome. It was neat.
Well, I bought the laser cut kit of the Wildman. It was supposed to be a joint effort. One of my local guys here, Terry Karen, he was a big ignition engine guy, and he had a brand new ONR 60 ready to go. He'd got a new coil in it, bought a LiPo battery pack and all this stuff. So it was going to be his engine, and I bought the kit, and I was going to build the airplane and fly it with his engine. It was going to be a joint venture.
Right.
But he ended up, shortly after I got the kit and he got all the motor stuff together, he got lung cancer and he died 6 months later. So I sold the kit to Wes Eakin up at the Indiana Skyliners guy. Wes bought the kit. And, of course, Terry, when he found out he was terminal, he sold most of his stuff on eBay. So we never had the opportunity to get it together. But I was very excited to I was going to build this plane and use his sparker, and we were going to go to a contest, and I was going to fly in an old-time stunt,
Oh, that'd be
Terry got sick and died. So,
I can interrupt for a second. There's a question on the YouTube. Jack Snavely wants to know, Doug, where in Wichita, Kansas, can you fly?
At the circles, we have 2 paved circles on South Oliver, between 31st Street South and Pawnee.
I thought we answered that already.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay.
A bunch of stuff.
You're late, Charles.
Just came in a couple of minutes ago.
Just kind of out.
You're too late, Charles. You're on California time, man. You guys are too late.
Hey, I'll use that anytime. I'll resemble that remark.
We got some more stuff here from YouTube. A bunch just came in, starting at about 12:20. So Jack says his half a Pathfinder works good on 38-foot lines, and then excuse me, that was Jeff Riley said that.
Wow,
his half a Pathfinder. Say what?
I said that's pretty short for half A, 38
Yeah.
on a
And
Pathfinder.
then
That's a pretty decent sized half A ship. I would say the Pathfinder is probably the best half A ship that's out there for, you know, an 061 or even Ray Copeland's flying his on an 074 on like 46 foot line.
Jeff says that he's got his on a an AME 051. Wow, that's a badass little engine.
Yeah, that's a lot of pop. But on 38 foot lines, it's pretty
Must
short.
be 61.
My dog came over to visit me again.
Oh, hey, doggy.
He's
Yeah,
14 and a half. He's 14 and he'll be 15 on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, that dog looks pretty old, man. I was gonna say.
Yeah,
pretty old.
Yeah, it's showing. He's a good boy. But he takes a lot of my attention. He won't let me leave the house without him now. He's like a little shadow all the time. If he sees me getting ready to leave, he comes right with me. And it didn't used to be that way, but now he won't let me go.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good old boy. He was a rescue dog.
Yeah, when our blonde lab died a few years ago, we never got another one. She was a big old 100-pound lap dog. Actually, she was overweight at 100, but she was about 90.
Listen, did you not learn anything from Bob Hunt tonight? If you have animals, it precludes you from going to contests.
Yeah, I know.
Leave your animal home that long.
Not ours. Ours were strictly outdoor dogs, and we could leave her. We went to the beach for 2 weeks, and she was fine if a neighbor fed her and watered her every day.
Don't get a dog. We got a cat.
Yeah, we got 2 of them too.
I can leave
like that.
Crack like that. Can get in and out. A neighbor can come over every other day and feed and water. But man, if you got dogs, you can't go to contests, man, unless you take them with you or unless you board them. So
yeah, we took Midnight here to the contests at Tulsa, and he barked at everybody the first year, and the second year he was a little bit more reserved, and then last year he was just the goodest little dog you'd want to see. He was quiet. He walked around, and he was always on a leash. He never did run around. But he's so well behaved now. You know, he's not like when he was younger. And I like him. I think he likes me too.
Oh.
Well, maybe I'll bring my cat to the next control line contest. Walk around on a leash or something.
There is a guy. Who is it? Walks his cat on a leash. Was it Jim Lee? No, somebody's talking about? Gosh, I can't remember who said he has a cat they walk on a leash. Daggone it.
My son actually had a leash for one of his cats. I don't know why, and I never saw it on the leash, but I know he said he had one. That was for the professor. He's my big fat black cat.
So Jeff Riley says, my AME is in 051. My dad gave me a load of crap about going back to half A after flying 46s.
It's not an 051. It's either an 049 or an 061. I don't believe.
Yeah, that's what I put to him.
Yeah, I'm just reading the teleprompter. That's what it says.
Rusty?
Say what? There's no 051.
No, there's not an 051 in AME.
Go outside.
It's either an 049 or an 061. They didn't make 051s. The Russian.
Jeff Riley, we need to see some proof.
There's a TD 051. That's the only 051 I know of.
TD 051, but not an AM. No. I want to see some dial calipers on a piston, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think Jeffrey's probably retrieving the motor. I hope so.
Maybe they did. Who knows what those crazy Russians made, man? You know?
Yeah, you never can tell. It might have been.
But I've never heard of one.
He says must be in 061.
Is it
not a big half A guy? He says.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
look on the
probably.
case. You can look and see if it's a 0.8 cc or a 1 cc.
Yeah, it'll have an 8 or what looks like a 10 on the side. Well, I mean, it's an 061.
It'll look like a 10 or an 8. Yeah.
Let me see what mine is. I have an AME motor here.
I do too. I got a bunch.
See here. What is this here?
Damn, every time I crunch these, what
It
are they? Every time I crunch a fiddle faddle, I get the screen blown up.
Mine's a 0.8.
Yeah, that's an 049.
049. Okay, so it's 049.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, this friend of mine is going to send me a tank for it one of these days. I know he is. I still have the faith in him.
Since we're talking about AMEs, and some of them were AMAs, is what they said, but they're AMEs.
Did you hear me, Rusty?
What'd you say, Charles?
I said a friend of mine sending me a tank for it. I know it's coming someday.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. I never can seem to get around to mailing mine.
I understand. No pressure, man. No pressure.
Charles, what kind of tank do you need? What do you need?
I don't know. You tell me. I have no idea. This is a friend of mine. He left the state and gave me this plane. So what do I need?
Back it up a little bit farther away. Farther.
More?
Yeah. It won't focus.
How about there?
Nah, it's just still blurry.
Let me make my picture bigger so I can see what you guys see. On my picture.
That little
Charles.
Yeah.
I got all kinds of half-A tanks here, man. What size do you need? I got a gazillion half-A tanks here, man.
Yeah, he was one of those that bolt onto the back of the Big Meg, the plastic one for the Big Meg startup kit. There it was. That's it.
Yeah, I've got a few, but I tell you, they're all leakers, man. They all end up leaking right here.
Okay.
They all end up leaking.
Should I run this on a bladder then?
Definitely.
I've got several like that, and I've tried to epoxy them. I've tried to seal them. I mean, they're okay for a little bit when they're new, but they all take a shit eventually. But I can, man, if you want half-A metal tanks, I got oodles of them, man.
I don't even know what size I would need for this.
Yeah, I got some little ones like that too.
I mean, I got all these little. They're not Uniflow tanks, you know. They're just tiny wedges. They're old perfect half-A tanks, is what
I remember those.
But I mean, I got oodles of them, man.
Wow.
Most of these are unrun and brand new. You know, look at that little guy right there.
Yeah.
That's tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a custom design plane my friend made.
It looks pretty sharp, Charles.
It's a pretty plane.
Hold it up again. Let's see it.
Does it run with that spinner on it?
I don't think so. He just put it on there.
Yeah, that's a lot of spinner.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about AMEs, has anybody ever seen a backplate fork mount.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
cool.
It might have been you showing it, but that's what I've seen it.
That is super cool.
So
Nope, never seen that.
the lugs, the mounting lugs, have been filed off.
Oh, they're shaved. My God.
Mounting lugs are gone. Right? And
Yeah.
fork mount backplate.
What's with
Combat.
the screws in the side of it?
Well, to hold the
Oh, I
fork
see.
mount in.
Never mind. Duh. I got it.
Which way would that mount on a plane? A profile vertical, straight down?
Well, it would have been mounted on a combat plane this way with the head out. Head facing the outboard wingtip on a half a combat plane. These were the rage, man, in the I'm guessing the AME era was after the TDs. TDs were real popular in the 80s and early 90s, and then the AMEs came out. So this is like 1990, top of the line, half a combat stuff. And this was stuff that was made in America here too. I got these from Don Cranfill. He sent us a couple. This wouldn't be something you could buy from Norville or AME or anybody. This is stuff that the Texas guys, I'm sure, Stubblefield and Cranfill and them guys came up with these backplate fork mounts.
I like the round back plate too for a radial mount. That's what I've got on some of my TDs.
That's it. All right, I'm gonna grab something else real quick to show you.
I wish I knew who made them because Texas Timers quit selling them.
What is that, Scotch? Mike, is that Scotch?
No, this is Bushmills Irish whiskey. Bushmills.
Yours. I got water, Batman.
I had some Buka just a few minutes ago. Something like that. I think that's what it was.
Oh, well, while we're experiencing the lull.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wind it up pretty soon here.
Yeah, it's only 9:31 out here, but yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
Pretty late.
Got this MSM, that micro scale models Ringmaster.
Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah, built it for a guy. And
now, is that similar to the Imperial?
What's that?
Is that similar to the Imperial fuselage?
No, it's just a Super Ringmaster. Okay. Yeah, the Imperial is a whole lot different, I think.
Y'all be happy to know I'm almost through with my fiddle faddle now. Because I know every time I rattle the bag, my picture pops up on the screen.
Okay, guys. So we got the Norville or the AME with the fork mount that the Texas guys came up with in the 90s. Henry Nelson also made a backplate fork mount for the Nelson 36.
Wow.
Big block fast. So this one had the backplate, but you would take the backplate off, shove that in, and now it would be your engine mount.
Yeah.
This was for fast combat stuff back in the day. These are unobtainium, man.
Yeah, I bet.
I was lucky to get this one, believe me.
I have some plates for Super Tigers for 46s and for a 60 that's similar, where you take out the cover plate and you put it on it.
But I mean, you know, the Nelson 36 is the premier combat engine ever. It's fast combat engine. and there was a limited number of there was more engines made than there was. I was very fortunate to just get that one.
So would that mount go through the wing?
No. It would go on a nose block. It would go on the nose block the same as regular aluminum motor mounts.
Okay, I follow you. You have to show me. I catch you now. I've seen the aluminum mounts.
And this is my little duper zilch.
Okay.
All right.
It's ready for paint too.
Yeah. See, you got it on the paint stick there.
Yep. Getting close.
There's a Nelson big block on a
right.
Just standard aluminum motor mounts.
Okay. What? Why do they call it a big block as compared to what?
Well, because it's a Nelson 36. We just call it big block fast, man. I don't know. Probably has something to do with the old hot rod days.
Yeah. Just because it's cool. Yeah.
Nelson 36s are the event, man. It's the
I get
big
it.
tomato in combat. It's the big tomato, big block.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So, but that's a standard aluminum engine mount, and it's got the mounting lugs. So, aluminum engine mount with the mounting lug.
Looks like that engine's meant to never have an exhaust bolted to it. Is that right?
Never. They weren't. No, there's no lugs because you ain't never putting an exhaust on them. It's not
right.
a stunt. But instead of having the aluminum motor mounts, you would have this in your back plate. And, it's just one last thing, man. This is screwed into your motor, and then bam, Bob's your uncle,
Right. I'm with you.
This is the shit right here. This is 130-mile-an-hour stuff right here.
Wow.
This is the fun stuff. I mean, Rusty, you've seen the Nelsons fly at Huntersville.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So that's still on is that still on 60-foot lines or longer?
60, plus or minus 6 inches.
Damn. That seems crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You got to stay ahead of it, and you can't have time. You don't have time to think about anything. You got to just have it committed to muscle memory, keeping that thing in the air.
So when you're flying that, is that you just try to cut the streamer off completely, or you just try to get cuts?
No, you're going for kills on that one. That's
okay.
That kills. I mean, you do get points for cuts and airtime, but a kill ends the match. The match is over when it's a kill.
Okay.
Whereas speed limit combat, a kill does not end the match. It keeps going for airtime, and if the other guy still has a streamer, you can get cuts. But no, fast combat and half-A combat is kills, man. You want to go up and within 30 seconds get the kill. That's why there's a lot of carnage in half-A and fast than there is in speed limit, because speed limit's kind of a gentleman's combat.
Yeah, the planes don't come so close together.
But and the reason speed limit came about is because in fast and half-A, you're going for blood, man. So there's a lot more carnage, a lot more mid-airs because you're being more aggressive. So you're going to wreck a lot more stuff. But that's just part of the game, man. I don't care. I only get to fly fast and half-A a couple times a year. So you expect to lose stuff and wreck shit, but who gives a shit? Speed limit is more of a gentleman's combat, more time, and you get all the air time, you get a few cuts, and then it's, points and whatnot. But in fast and half-A, every man for himself, man. You go for blood, man. And that's why a lot of times they mid-air and you tear your shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. When radio control combat started for us back in the, I don't know, early 90s, maybe late 80s, we were using Fox 15s. and this airplane called the Wild Thing. And we flew with, I don't know, 10-foot streamer and a 10-foot piece of string tied onto the back of the airplane, and go around just try to get cuts. And occasionally we'd midair, but then they changed the parameters or whatever of RC, fun little combat, and it turned into blood sport, and
Right.
it got too fast and crazy and just wasn't fun anymore. For me, it just died out here because it got too crazy.
Well, there's a new event being proposed right now, because half-A combat back in the day was 049 Reedies on 30-foot line, and then they went. So it was pretty slow stuff back then. And then they went to TDs, the TD-049s and the TD-051s, and then they learned to run them on a bladder.
Yeah.
Faster. And then they went to the Norvilles and the AMEs and that stuff. And then that's when they went to 42-foot lines because everything was faster. But just recently, in the last few months, Lester Horry has been trying to get guys to do Reedy combat again. And I'm talking Cox production engines with the gray plastic backplate, Reedy on a black, any airframe, but on 30-foot lines. And they're not going to go that fast.
50?
35 foot. 35
Oh.
foot.
Oh.
But
Okay.
a Cox Reed valve engine, production engine on 35-foot lines with any airframe. And you really can't wreck a lot of stuff that way because they're not going to be that fast. The only way you're going to wreck them is in midair. You can crash them and they're not going to break, especially a foamy, wing foamy. You're not going to break it. So there's been a renewed interest in bringing back what we call low performance combat. Low performance combat, not high performance stuff like we're flying today on 42. Because realistically, our Russian motors and planes on 42s are as fast as Nelson 36 combat. The lap times and the reaction times are as fast combat. So there's this push to get back to this Reedy event, because who doesn't have a plastic backplate 049 sitting in there?
Yeah, everybody does.
Everybody does.
Good.
So it would be low performance, 35-foot lines, not a lot of carnage. I think it's a great idea. I mean, if they get it going and start flying it as an event, I'll build planes for it,
And whatever people can do to get the interest built up into the hobby is great. That's kind of what we're losing down here is just more, people aren't building and they're doing RC or something else. They're just moving away from control line.
Well, I don't know that a new event like that is going to draw more people into it, because people have to see control line to know what it is to get involved.
Yeah, people that I've talked to that say, "Oh God, you fly control line?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, that's old. That's nobody does." I'm like, "Yeah, try it." "Well, I just get dizzy." "Well, no, then you're doing it wrong." It's more fun for this. Well, it's not as easy as you think to fly control line. Okay, guys, come on. It's not as easy as they think. And they've got their minds made up that control line's dead. Not me. Not my little crap.
Me also. Hey, Jeffrey Riley has a few more comments and questions.
Oh, yeah, he was talking. Oh, yeah, he was, didn't he? Talking about his back to the 061 AMA.
And then he says mine has a 10 on it, and so it looks that way.
That's an 061, That's one for sure.
And he
Yeah, he
went
better so he can fly close to home.
But he has a question for Mike Lonke. Hey, Mike, would you be interested in a Fox Mark 7?
Mark 7s are pretty hot, and they're 90% of a Nelson almost. They're pretty close to a Nelson. They're not quite a Nelson, but they're 90% of one. Personally, no, I would not be interested in a Mark 7. But I do know other people that would be. I would tell you your best advice would be to list it on Stunthangar in the classifieds or put it on eBay. It would depend if it's a new unrun Mark 7. You can probably get $200 out of it on eBay.
Wow.
If it's new and run,
Engine.
I think it'll fetch $200. If it's been run, depending on the condition, it could go $75 to $125. But if you got one brand new on run in the box, you're looking at two bones. There's still guys out there that'll buy them and that'll still run them, but it's not going to command much more than $200. Because when you get into that range for a combat motor, guys are just going to be looking to buy Nelsons because they can buy Nelsons for $275 and up. But it's still a desirable engine. There are guys that are interested in it, but not me. Thanks.
Yeah. Jack says about half A. It's fun to feel and fly your plane from your hand. It's called hands-on fun. Yeah, your body's part of the machine. Everything that plane does is a reaction to what you do down there on the ground. Kind of like athletics.
Yep, and it's harder than people think. Yeah, they think, it's so easy, just go around in circles. Well, that's not what.
Hey, RC guys just go around in circles. Just a big giant box. But you can do a lot of stuff in between start and finish line in a circle. And granted, you can do more. You can't roll a control line plane, but hell, we do some pretty hard creative stuff.
Yep. And the ground is always only 60 feet away or closer.
5 feet at the bottom of your stunts if you're flying precision aerobatics.
Russ,
you can't get 3% with the control line.
I have rolled the control line plane before.
Really?
Have you ever seen a mid-air in combat? They roll.
What?
I couldn't hear anything you said. Something stepped on you.
I've never seen a mid-air during a combat.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is a roll. That just turned into a ball of mess.
And they flat spin and they do all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. Dude, we're going to have to close the show up for tonight.
Did the guy in the Mark 7 answer back?
Let's see. That was Jeff. Let's see. No, Jeff says his Mark 7 has about 50 runs with 25% nitro. It was fast, but not Nelson fast.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a strong runner and it's clean, he can expect to get $150 for it, $125, $150. There's guys out there that still buy the Mark 7s, and still fly them in fast combat. But they're the old guys, man, that still want to mess with Foxes. Why would you mess with a Fox when you can have a Nelson? That's my opinion, anyway.
Fox revolutionized stunt.
Okay, folks. I think this was a good show. I got to go chill out now. So y'all we're welcome to stay and talk as usual. Meanwhile, thanks to all the YouTube guys. Let's see, we still got 6 of them out there watching us. So we appreciate y'all. And you guys in the live feed too, appreciate y'all. And so Y'all have a great week. We'll see you Friday. And until then, fair winds, tight lines. See you later.
Thanks, Rusty.
Hey, I'm going to sign off.